Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Hollywood on the Rocks on a Wednesday. I hope you're doing well. Today on the show, it's going to be a big show. What we have coming up, we're going to talk about the new episode of Ahsoka, plus Amber Heard's new movie. Should we review Amber Heard's new movie, In the Fire? We'll discuss it. In addition, I have seen all the episodes of One Piece. I'm going to give you my opinion. Alan has a review of A Million Miles Away, a horror film directed by Fast and the Furious star Sung Kang, is coming to theaters tomorrow, called Shaky Shivers. I'll be talking about that, plus interviews with filmmakers today. Same Page director Emanuel Ramirez, plus the re-education of Molly Singer director Andy Palmer. They'll be on at the end of the show today. Lots to discuss, plus your chat, comments, and questions. Why do I sound like a radio announcer or something? What am I doing? Let me get this started. Let's get the show going. Alan is here waiting in the wings. So where is Alan? Let's go. It's Hollywood on the Rocks. I thought Alan was here. I don't know where he is.
It is amazing. She is the first female action hero ever in a movie.
Well, look, he's 19 years old. She's 32.
Whoa!
Alan's a superhero. I think if I whistle, he'll show. I know.
Alan!
Hey.
There he is. What's did you get kidnapped and put into a room? Like where are you right now?
Yeah, I'm in there's some blankets there. I'm in my parents' house, my dad's house.
Okay,
And,
so
yeah.
you're in the LA area close to me.
Not really. I'm out in Palos Verdes.
Okay.
So I'm still very far from you.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine.
Yeah. We're actually on the opposite ends of the Harbor Freeway. That's kind of how far we are.
Oh my God. Now we're going to sound like the Californians. You take the 110 to the 105 to the 405. The weird thing is that Californians skit, which is on SNL when SNL was funny, I understood everything they were saying.
Yeah, their directions were accurate.
that was the best part of that bit. Was it's like, oh, I know all those freeways.
Yeah.
And that's accurate description of how to get from that to there. It's you got to take that's the dice you roll in Cal. It's like, okay, we're going to take 7 freeways to get to a destination. It's all clear now. One of them will screw up. It's inevitable. So we're having trouble actually.
Yeah.
And
then it's all the off ramps, all the side streets you take. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I just got out of the shower, so I apologize for being a little bit late. So you're going to watch my hair dry on camera. If you're not watching this, you're just listening. Fine. A lot of people listen to the show on Spotify and whatnot. So shout out to people listening on Spotify. I just got out of the shower. My hair is wet and drying. So we'll see how that turns out. But before we get things started, because we have a lot to go over, let's see who's in the chat today. And we are having problems streaming to Rumble currently. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, it should have been set up, and I set up this morning, so I'm not sure why it's not working.
Yeah, so apologies to those on Rumble. If it's an issue, we will re-upload the episode. But let's see who's here. One Punch Man Tolkien fan who's a member. Love the thumbnail. Alan Horkins says, I decided to treat Ahsoka the same as Rebels. I might watch it eventually. Unfortunately, it seems like filler, wasting an entire season just to tell us Thrawn is coming.
Well,
there you go.
This might be your episode.
Well, we'll discuss it. Elinor Nar says, don't think we'll ever see the show, but the discussions of these two are really fun. Well, thank you for joining us for our discussions. We're not just going to talk about Ahsoka. a lot more to discuss. There's good stuff. There's not great stuff, but there you go. Alan Horkin, will we get a preview or review of Dumb Money on Friday when it opens wide? It was only in a few theaters. We will discuss it this Friday. We're going to discuss Dumb Money because by then Alan and I will both have seen it. Limited release already, but not on USA wide release until September 29th. Well, there you go. Friday. Solomon Thornton, Disney Star Wars equals Gore Rant. Can't wait to see it. And James Jennings, hi all. So stoked for the rant. When is there ever not a rant? I mean, I always have some rant kind of in my head. Alan Horkin, Chris mentioned on the Nooner that he wanted to talk about something called Skibidi Toilet. We're going to get to Skibidi Toilet. I want you to know.
I saw the first 3 episodes.
I've seen most of them. So, Dub B. Ayak, hail Film Threat in chat. I finally got my copy of Attack of the Doc. One question, are all the extended interviews just audio? That is correct. Yes, all of the extended interviews are audio. That was a plan, and it was the only way to put how many hours are on the we counted the exact count is 28 and a half hours of extras if you watch and or listen to everything on the Attack of the Doc Blu-ray. Physically no way to put 22 hours of interviews on a disc. They just can't unless they're I wouldn't even know how to do it. Maybe in 3/4 standard def. I don't even know how you do it.
Yeah. I remember helping you set up the video studio for Attack of the Doc.
Yes, that lasted a couple weeks. So we had to do most of the interviews over live streams. Some people didn't want to be on camera. For the DVD, they're like podcasts and conversations. It's really not, I have the video, but it's not that exciting. It's just 2 people talking like Alan and I right now. Except there's more laundry.
Is that me bugging out or is that Chris?
Oh, what? Are we having problems?
I think we just lost Chris. But yeah, just are you back? Yeah, just a reminder that when Attack of the Doc was being filmed, COVID happened. And there was no one was coming over to film their interviews. You back?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Yeah. Yanis Dark says, just watching Film Threat and Disparu break Ahsoka down makes me more thankful I never signed up for Disney Plus. Hey, we got some super chats and member chats here. Eric Stratton's a member for 9 months. 9 months. It's like you've given birth. We've given birth to a fan. Your fun way of showing us off-center indie movies is paying off with us and your G&G FNT friends slowly. UPI are a steely-eyed missile man. UPI.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. I'll see you on Discord. Pilgrim Media for 2. Alan is in the world between worlds.
Feels that
all
way.
Right. R.I.P. Star Wars. Just saw Amadeus for the first time. Really? I love that film. I saw that when I was a kid in the 80s. It's a shame that they don't make brilliant movies like that anymore. It's absolutely that movie blew me away when I was a kid and love that film. I love that film. Thank you, R.I.P. Star Wars. BA for 499. I've never been happier to be tuned out of Star Wars other than watching commentary and reviews. So Grandma Thrawn is a thing. And Robot Dues has become a YouTube member. Thank you, Robot Dues. Seen you in the chat many times. Thanks for becoming a member. Talk to you on the Discord. All hail Grand Admiral Dad Bod, says Ministry of Wrong Think.
Oh my gosh.
I like Grand Admiral Thrawn's physique. I can see myself in him.
So could I. It made me think I could act.
Yeah. What the hell?
I have the body for Hollywood.
Oh wait, some more, just a few more before we pivot here. Alan Horkin, wrestling has better writing than Disney Star Wars.
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney could learn a lot from wrestling. That's all I'll say.
Lord Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, sign up as a member, and join us on Discord. And Butt McCracken, always like to see Butt McCracken here. I just watched all of Skibidi Toilet. It was great. Thanks, Chris, for recommending it. You watched it all? It's like an hour, a little over an hour if you watch all of it. But it's great, right? It's like we're gonna get into it
Yeah.
later in the discussion.
I may take issue with the word great, but
Lead Wall for 5. Saw your review of Director's Cut, watched it yesterday and loved it. Thanks for the recommendation. I'm filled with recommendations. Director's Cut, directed by Adam Rifkin, starring Penn Jillette. Brilliant film. I have the DVD. I have the Blu-ray. What a great movie. Really fantastic.
Were you a backer on that one? Or?
Well, I was not a backer. I realized when I went to a screening, it's like, oh, there's a lot of credits. But I love, because I'm trying to figure out what next movie I'm going to make. And I think I've come down to a decision. And I may do a Kickstarter for it. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but I think I can't wait. I'm going to be quiet. Wait till it's happening. But thank you, Lead Wall. DVD Tuesday is every Tuesday and Thursday on the Film Threat YouTube channel. You can watch, we shot 40 episodes, so they're going to run between now and the end of the year. If people continue to like them, we'll do a bunch more. And Akanika has been a member for 14 months. Thank you, Akanika. Keep going strong. Appreciate you guys and the chat. So there you go. All right. Oh, wait. Hannibal Grimm says, sent you guys something fun on Discord that I did last weekend. Well, thank you, Hannibal Grimm. Appreciate that. All right, let's get right into it. Before we talk about Ahsoka, we need to talk about something else. So we're going to pivot here for a minute. Just a minute. Here, just give me a second.
Shake it like you mean it, baby. Come on.
Clip that for a short. Glenn. Clip that for a short. Clip that. Clip that for a short. I know where to scratch. 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 This should surprise no one, but a woke James Bond is coming. Before I tell you about it, I'm going to show you the very first image of James Bond, which was illustrated way back in the day. It's in a comic strip. This is what James Bond was portrayed as. Just kind of how you would think that James Bond would be portrayed, like chisel-jawed, very manly James Bond. And there's a comic arts museum that now has a lot of this James Bond art that's on display. Here's one of the very first comic strips. The first adventure of James Bond takes him to Casino Royale. You see James Bond kind of looks exactly like you would think. And James Bond has changed a lot over the years. When Daniel Craig became James Bond, he's sort of blonde-ish. I would say he's more of a dirty blonde than actual blonde. There was a little controversy about that. Honestly, I don't care. I like his interpretation. It's different. My James Bond personally is always going to be Sean Connery, because that's how I first remember James Bond. Sean Connery is my Bond. Here it is, John McCluskey from 1965. There's an illustration also of James Bond, the character as portrayed. I think it's pretty cool. So, but let's take a look at this article that I found. We're going to take a look at this article. We're going to go through it. And here we go. They're saying the new James Bond is beyond parody. This is from Spiked. Okay, can you see that all right?
You could make it bigger if you could.
Okay, I'll make it bigger. Alan, don't take that out of context.
Yes.
to get rid of these ads.
Just kind of rub it a little bit. And
yeah, there you go. All right, let's get rid of
Okay.
these ads. Okay. The near universal loathing from for Charlie Higson's new Bond novel has restored my faith in humanity. This is written by Simon Evans on Spiked. Last week on X, formerly known as Twitter, Ed West, journalist and eternal Eeyore of the British right, shared a few pages from the latest James Bond novel. He included no prompts to indicate how we should feel about it, or indeed why he had thought it was worth bringing to our attention. But the derision it drew was immediate. The consensus was overwhelming. It was trite. The book is called On His Majesty's Secret Service. If your first reaction to that title was like mine, hang on, isn't there one called that already? Then you need to look again. This is a new Bond for the new king / he, him. It is, in a very real sense, all about the pronouns now. Indeed, this iteration of the erstwhile Queen's thug came out back in May. It was commissioned for the coronation, much like the Charles and Camilla approved Broadbean quiche of that name. But until recently, it had escaped most people's attention. The new book presents Bond as a weary 21st century beneficiary of corporate frequent flyer schemes, a Bond whose worldview seems more in line with someone whose formative years were spent in the BBC's HR department rather than in MI6 HQ. This Bond is brooding, though not over murderous supervillains with tall tails, tics, and facial deformities, or shadowy Asiatic acronyms, but over the problematic Euroscepticism of the democratically elected Viktor Orban, the alleged dog whistle bigotry of imperial weights and measures, and a gathering of barely disguised pro-Brexit ERG types whose leader had not thought to ensure an adequate diversity quotient. Every paragraph groans under the severed heads of the author's hobby horses. Other parts of it are just bizarre. Bond is able to identify a sensible Taitinger by taste alone, for example, and note the price point approvingly. Apparently pay too much for champagne, and if anything, it starts to taste worse. Who knew? Yet he is somehow not sure if the pastry filling he's eating is mushroom. Well, we all have our blind spots. On Her Majesty's Secret Service was written, I am resisting the temptation to sneer, as per Truman Capote, typed by former comedian Charlie Higson. It sounds like this is almost like a parody. And had it been intended as comic pastiche, a kind of Richard Littlejohn meets Alan Partridge, what next? A woke Bond piece, it would have been perfectly judged if a little mild. Although it may seem hard to believe this is not pastiche, this is a real book, a real Bond, or at least an authorized palimpsest. I have never heard of the word palimpsest. I don't know palimpsest. I don't know everything, folks, but I like to. Alan, what does palimpsest mean?
Yeah, I'm looking that up.
Palimpsest.
It's not a real word. How do you give me the first three letters?
Palimpsest. All right, moving on. And when extracts were shared on X, they soon provoked an equally real and rather delicious bubbling up of laughter and derision of the kind that restores my faith in the common vox. This was the most clunky example I've yet seen of a particular flavor of politically motivated refurbishment addressing what is perceived to be the tired decor letting down otherwise solid architecture. It was a relief to know others thought so too. New Bond is not an example of retconning, short for retroactive continuity. That is when publishers edit older books to make sense of errors, inconsistencies, or awkwardness created as often by authorial carelessness as changing tastes. This is more of a kind of software upgrade, a nudge that realigns legacy characters with modern mores, under which they can proceed safely into contemporary fiction. This technique applies a palatable glaze to problematic texts and gnarly, ornery heroes and keeps them morally acceptable, not least to publishing houses staffed entirely by easily spooked humanities graduates who scored 11 on neurosis and agreeability and 3 on historical perspective. Alan, what's the meaning of that word?
Yes. The introspect M got it. A manuscript that has been written on more than once, usually referring to... Okay, this is the... Let me give you the one I have. A manuscript or piece of written material on which the original writing has been effaced to make room for later writing. but of which traces remain. So it's an original manuscript that has been rewritten for modern times, basically. And
Okay,
and
good.
weirdly, there's a word for that, and that's palimpsest.
Well, we need more of those words, I guess. All right. Continuing on. Wait, where I lost my, it was right. It was
Isn't it
here.
right in front of you there?
No, I had it.
Did you scroll?
No, I just have 700 tabs out.
It's the it should be the one that's lit up with a little dot or something.
Is it? Now I'm gonna go into a rant about technology this time. Here we go. All right, sorry about that. This process need not be inherently a bad thing. It's just a question of degree. By all means, let modern Bond kick the tobacco habit, respect women, and even, I don't know about that, and even revisit some of his previously unexamined prejudices. But this version furnishes Bond with the kind of opinions that would serve him well at a barbecue attended by his daughter's favorite drama teacher. And thus the long march through the institutions has reached the gift shop, and we can all buy souvenirs of our new improved memories. Defenders of the new Bond will roll their eyes and patiently explain that in this case, no one is messing with Ian Fleming's old prose or watering down his vodka martini, nor is woke Bond on the school curriculum, let alone being read to toddlers by men with padded bosoms, 3-inch eyelashes, and towering platform heels. He's talking about a drag queen. It's just being put by the till for a few weeks so that the free market can decide. So this is interesting. This exists, and we're going to see if people buy it. True enough, but I was pleased to see that in the genuinely free market of scorn, Twitter/X can still function as a good old-fashioned town square equipped with public stocks, buckets, and sponges, and robust engagement, because On His Majesty's Secret Service really got the raspberry it deserved. I'm not going to read the entire article. I will put the link in the description for this story. But Alan, what do you think about a woke James Bond here?
Yeah, this is a lot is going through my mind at the moment. First, my James Bond, yours was Sean Connery, mine was Roger Moore, and admittedly, Roger Moore was probably the most misogynistic, and but honestly, that's why I liked it. Not just for the misogyny, but just the idea that James Bond is someone you wanted to be.
Right.
You wanted to be the hero, you wanted to be the lover, you wanted to be the suave sophisticate. And what this article just shows is that people today don't understand why people like James Bond early on, and this idea that you need to correct it. The idea that you need to correct it is nobody wants that, and the other thing is nobody wants this. This is what we're looking at is a company putting massive amounts of resources to produce a product no one's going to buy.
I think the reason they're doing this is to actually see, will it be popular? And the response on social media to this has been vastly negative. And that's why this Simon Evans wrote this piece. It's like, it renews his faith in humanity that, like, hey, they recognize that this is hot garbage. If you do a woke James Bond, that's not James Bond anymore. That's a completely different character. And if anything, you look at like Austin Powers as a parody of James Bond. And you're Roger Moore. I loved Sean Connery because he had that level of suave, debonair. He always got the girls. The first James Bond movie I remember seeing as a kid was Goldfinger, and it was shocking. The scene where the young girl in her bikini is painted all gold. And I remember it being explained to me that she died because she couldn't breathe. Yeah. They basically they painted her so that her skin, like nothing could breathe.
Yeah.
And it killed her. And the idea that Goldfinger himself, spoiler, at the end of the movie gets sucked through, he's this big rotund guy and he gets sucked through one of the tiny windows in the plane. That as a kid, you don't see it physically, but you do see the reaction and you hear it happening. That just shocked me as a kid. I loved Sean Connery. I have the box set of all the James Bond films up until the first Daniel Craig one. They came out with a box set. And then it might be the first two. I'm not sure. I'll have to grab the box out. But
Every time a
Then
movie
Roger
comes
Moore-
out, there's a new compilation that comes out.
Yeah, exactly. I hate that. But I was like, but it came with all the digital codes. And I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
get the digital codes and the Blu-ray versions. Anyways. And then Roger Moore came. I didn't like Roger Moore as much, but here's what I appreciated about Roger Moore. The campiness. It was like, it reminded me of the 66 Adam West Batman TV series where it's super campy and over the top. And I can quote a line, one of my favorite lines from Moonraker. Moonraker, the James Bond movie that came out after, of course, the popularity of Star Wars. It's campy now when you watch it. Very influenced Dr. Evil from the Austin Power films. But one of my favorite lines from the end of the movie is, James Bond is won in the end. He got the girl. He's about to land, on Earth. He's, plummeting back to Earth in a space shuttle. He's safe. He's on autopilot. And one of the guys at Mission Control is like, "What's James Bond doing?" "He's attempting re-entry." And he's in zero gravity, about to have sex with a lady.
Yeah.
And there you go. It's one of my
I hate to say it, but
great lines.
The James Bond movie I've seen the most, and it's I think arguably one of the worst ones, is A View to a Kill.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so campy and so fun. And I mean, who doesn't love Grace Jones, really?
Yeah. Well, look,
and Tanya Roberts. Oh my God, Tanya Roberts is so bad.
I don't think this is anything to really be concerned with. I think that very smartly they're testing this out in literature form, and it's not resonating. I mean, it's going over very poorly online, and that's the point. That's the point of this guy's article is that this has been received so badly. I don't think it's going to affect the movie. There's always going to be little sort of like, they're going to throw out little bones here and there, right? A character they made, what's his name, gay in the Daniel Craig James Bond.
Is it Felix or is it Q?
I don't know. I forget.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is, I've been saying this about Walt Disney, and I've been saying this about the live action remakes. What you're pointing out here is what they did with all the live action remakes, with probably the exception of Cinderella, where they had to correct everything wrong, everything politically incorrect about it, everything not woke about it. And we've been seeing this happen over the last decade, probably the last 15 years of needing to say that these stories that Walt had brought to life, made classics, we need to fix it because they were just wrong back then. And this is what's happening here.
Well, I'll just say this: woke Bond may be here in the written word. I don't know that this will ever translate to the screen. I think if you look at the failure of a lot of films, we don't need to go over, what they are. I think that a new James Bond is going to, and James Bond always gets modernized. There's new gadgets, new tech, new things that are kind of in the zeitgeist, whether it's AI or something, you know what I mean? Like
new stronger women.
Yes. Stronger women, whatever.
Yeah. I'll tell you how this is going to be made in a movie. The best way to do this, if you're going to make a movie of this, is to do it like the original Casino Royale. Just make it a parody. I absolutely make it a parody, and I think you'd actually make it a good. I think this is the makings of a really good parody if you take it from that approach. And
oh my God, as a comedy, a woke James Bond would be hilarious if you made it in a mocking way. I'm just glad that look, here's what James Bond needs: a British accent and a tuxedo. You can't dress James Bond like John Fetterman, the esteemed senator from Pennsylvania.
Mean the fashion forward.
Oh my God, what a moron! What a moron! And I'm not talking about John Fetterman. I'm talking about everybody who voted for that guy. You couldn't see that a guy who had just suffered a stroke might just be a tool. Oh my God, horrible. Anyways, put James Bond in a tuxedo, give him a gun, and by gun I mean penis, and
both. You mean both.
And there you go. Give him two guns. And that's how I want my James Bond. I don't think this is ever going to make its way to the big screen. Movies are too expensive. But can you experiment a little in print? Yes, you can. So I would say rest assured, this isn't actually I don't think this is gonna
Yeah.
affect
By the
the
way,
movies at all.
it's even better than that. It doesn't even need to go to print. It just needs to go to the Kindle.
Right. All right. Let's see what you think in the chat. We've got a lot of super chats related to this. Macho Elbow for 5 just watched Jerry Maguire for the first time. 10 out of 10. And to say they don't make them like that anymore is an understatement. First of all, I unabashedly like Jerry Maguire.
Mhm. Absolutely.
I like that movie. It's romantic. It's touching. There's a really hot sex scene, like in the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. I like that it discusses morality and
Mhm.
and he writes a mission statement, and that's what gets him fired. I love that film. I know people, it's easy to make fun of it, but I love that film. So
Yeah.
Macho Elbow, you know what? A lot of great movies made previous to 2010. We could revisit them all. Hey, the Bone Bridger for 25. Rachel Zegler will probably be the new Bond. Weird. I always, when she says weird, I always get it sounds weird.
It's
Uh,
like
thank
I'm
you for
hanging
that.
out with my daughter's friends.
Thank you, Bone Bridger. That's very generous. Appreciate it. Jordan for 10. Just hanging out while working. Changed my name on Twitter. Gary used a word earlier. It's my new favorite. Here's $10 to explain to your audience what boondoggle means. Yeah, what does boondoggle mean? Jordan, you're gonna have to tell me. Wait, I still follow you, right? You changed your name? All right. I follow Jordan on Twitter. If it's the same Jordan, DM me, man, or just let me know. Boondoggle. I've heard that word. I kind of know in context what it means. Snakes and Funerals for 5 says Phoebe Waller-Bridge can be the new Bond. She can kill another franchise forever. I just think what you do now is do a parody of woke stuff. I think it would be a huge hit.
I think so. By the way, a
That's-
boondoggle is a project considered a waste of time and money.
Well, there you go. That's a boondoggle. Matthew Hammond for 499. Woke James Bond already started with overly emotional Daniel Craig that turned into a bad British knockoff of the Jason Bourne series. I don't mind him being a bit more emotional. It's something we haven't really seen in a James Bond film. I mean, look, Sean Connery will always be my Bond, and everyone else will be, well, who's your second favorite Bond? And it's not Daniel Craig. So I think they're fine. I think the Daniel Craig Bonds, I think they're fine, but not even near my favorite.
I mean, I'll say this: they at least employed pretty women. He may not have had sex with all of them, but they were there.
Well, there you go, Alan. There's always a chance.
There's always
Bucky Balboa for 499. Have you seen the OSS 177 movies? It's a French film in the vein of Bond. I have heard of them, and I really want to see them. The OSS movies. I saw one years ago. I'm talking about like when I worked at G4. But these OSS movies, they're like unabashedly like he's like sexist and racist, and they're period pieces. So yeah, I think I saw one years ago. But yeah, check those out. And Shucksy, hey, Chris gives whole new meaning to the man with the golden gun. And Matthew Hammond back with 499. They need to make Henry Cavill James Bond and allow Christopher Nolan to direct a set of 3 movies without studio interference. That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know that Christopher Nolan will want to do that. Darth Maul says, thank you for that, Matthew. Darth Maul says Film Threat needs to rate all the Bond girls. We should do that. We did do an article. I believe it's on the Film Threat website. And Alan, you updated the article.
Yeah, it's still one of our most popular articles.
Are we thinking of the same article?
I didn't update it. I cleaned it up so that it looked like all the other articles on Film Threat on the website.
So it's the best boobs in movies. Can you bring up that article?
Yeah, it's the 50 best boobs in movies.
Shoot me DM private message me that and I'll show it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that we're going to be fine. I don't think woke James Bond, there'll be a little bit of they're going to throw out little here and there. They'll throw out little whatever to satisfy people, but I don't think you could do James Bond in that way. I mean, he's a cold-blooded killer on a mission. Did you find it?
Yeah, I'm pasting it now.
Okay.
All right, it's in
Here we go.
it's in the private chat.
All right. I'm going to share this. It is on the Film Threat website, the 50, and you can feel free to argue about this.
And,
Okay.
and plus, this was written probably about 12 years ago. So we're missing another decade
back.
of new boobs.
Unfortunately, we do need to update this story. We need to update the story. Do you know why we need to update this story? It's the 50 best breasts in movie history. Of course, Marilyn Monroe on the list. We need to update this story, but if we do an update of the story, Alan, will there be any female penises in this story? I don't know.
By the way, when I was cleaning
there's
this up,
many ads.
Yeah. So here's the funny story. When I was cleaning this up and getting it, getting the pictures in there,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out why there was only 25 women in this article.
Oh, that's good. So there's 25 women, but 50
so if we
breasts.
update it, we're gonna have to go to the top 100 boobs.
Oh
in
my
movie
God,
history.
this really goes back. You've got Mae West, Jane Russell, Marilyn Monroe. These are all great. I agree with all these choices. Jane Mansfield, Sophia Loren. We have part 2. So this goes on. This is look at this.
Yeah.
Love it. Ursula Andress.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Raquel
Welch from 1 Million Years BC, which is a ridiculous movie when you look back on that film, like super hot caveman. Tura Satana from Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. Anyways, I'll put the link to this in the in the description of this episode.
Yeah. We get consistent traffic to this article.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, we have to update it then. We have to update it.
Yeah, we'll go to top 100.
All right, we'll do that. Okay, Alan, we got to pivot here. Let's talk about Ahsoka. What? We're talking about Ahsoka. We have over 900 people watching us.
About boobs, and now we're going to talk about Ahsoka.
We're going to talk about Ahsoka. We got to do it. Let's discuss it. All right. Where's that blue guy? Okay. I was going to find a thing here. Oh, wait. Another super chat here related to this really quick. Crit Nature for 30 CHF. The new James Bond should be like Sean Connery Bond. We got a little bit of that in Skyfall, but it was too much of a mashup of the modern and classic style, unfortunately. That would be the next logical step, but I doubt it. Thank you for that, Crit Nature. Appreciate it.
Yeah. To me, the thing is, Roger Moore made so many James Bond movies. It's just hard for me to break out of his model. To me, he's the ultimate James Bond just because of how prolific he was in the role.
All right, time to talk about it. Ahsoka episode 6. Alan, what were your thoughts?
Okay, so here's the thing. I read the comments about us talking about it, and obviously we don't like it. But the comments are always, this is great. What are you not seeing? And the question I have is, what am I not seeing? I mean, what is it? Everyone says it's great. Everyone who likes it and says it's great, they never give an example of why. And and this is just this is a prime example of why this show sucks. And this episode is the definitive reason. You had two major appearances that have been talked about since episode 1. The appearance of Thrawn and the appearance of Ezra. And both of them fell flat like a limp noodle. Thrawn appears and he's got the dad bod going on. Okay, fine. But everything we've been asking about these two characters were not revealed in any way. Why is Thrawn, basically the Thanos of Star Wars? Why is Ezra Bridger? Why is he so important to find? And in both occasions, when they appear, it's just as if, hey, we missed you. Oh, I missed you too. Okay, well, welcome back. The thing about Ezra, this meeting, a little bit of banter between him and Sabine, and then a hug, and that was it. How about some emotion? How about this idea that you haven't seen him in a long time? maybe it would have been great if there was some kind of romantic connection between the two. But instead, it's just a hug, and preceded by cute little turtle men. So again, here, this is the folly of Ahsoka. Rebels was a TV show on Disney XD. Wasn't even on the Disney Channel. It was on the Disney XD. I looked it up. The first episode of Rebels, the series premiere, 1 million viewers. And then the third season, 750,000 viewers. Why are we making a full-on television series costing $100 million for a series that very few people saw? I mean, you're talking ratings worse than network ratings, and yet we're making a big deal, and we're telling people you don't need to have seen Rebels. Well, we know that's a lie. You had to, but the thing is, not enough people saw Rebels enough to see this, and this is why. And this is why we're feeling flat when these great moments occur, or when the whales, whatever. It's just I don't understand what Lucasfilm was thinking in making the series without giving us a reason to like these characters beforehand. And so this episode specifically, it just tells me that no one at Lucasfilm knows what they're doing.
Well, I just think that the writing is the weak link in this.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
is the writing is the weak link. And let's go over the key moments.
Let me just say this. Sure. I've seen throughout the Mandalorian season 3 and this, there are elements, there are ideas that are really interesting to look at or to think about. But the people behind the series, Dave Filoni, he's not smart enough to know how to turn these interesting ideas into something that's engaging for a broader audience than the TV series on Disney XD. So there you go. Go ahead.
Well, look, let's go through the key moments of the episode where not a lot happens. It's a Sabine episode, so we're focused on Sabine's character. Okay. She's now been taken captive.
So in the Ahsoka series, this episode is Sabine. Okay, got it.
Yeah, look, I don't mind. I don't mind that they, divert and will, feature other characters. I'd say Sabine is kind of a co-lead with Ahsoka. It's as much her story since she is at least aspires to be Ahsoka's apprentice. But so now she's something of a turncoat. Is she just she's pretending to be on their side just to go meet Ezra. But I do not get the big deal about Ezra because it was never made clear to us. It was made clear in the series what his sacrifice was. He effectively sacrificed himself to banish Thrawn to another part of the galaxy. But because we never saw that in the Ahsoka series means nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing. So it doesn't come with any weight. And the fact that they've talked more about Ezra in this series than they talked about Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy. It's kind of ridiculous that they have him as this looming goal, right? So,
yeah. And what is it about this guy that makes it worth reactivating Thrawn? That's the question that is unanswered to me.
100%.
Because when they met, he seems just like a guy. I don't see anything special about him. Again, not having seen Rebels, but they're okay. They're just not building characters well here.
All right. So here's the thing, and I'll compare it to One Piece, which I saw and loved. One Piece is driven, the story is driven by the characters. In Ahsoka, the characters are a victim of whatever the story needs to do. And the story is effectively a task and quest-driven video game. That's it. That's the level of storytelling. It is cartoon-level script writing. The storytelling is sort of lacks an epic nature. And a couple of things that I found that really stood out to me was the absolute unimpressive, weak introduction of Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yep.
Both he and Ezra have been talked about throughout I mean, Thrawn was mentioned in other Star Wars shows. Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn, right? You meet him, and there's a funny meme. We showed it on the Gary Beekler showed it on the Nooner of like before COVID, after COVID, and that he had the after COVID body, and it's fine, okay, whatever. But and I don't even care if the actor looked like that. He literally was not a commanding presence. He could not act through the makeup. You know, there's something about being in that makeup where you're trying to act through it, and it doesn't really. I don't know. I thought the actor was fine, but just made no impression. It's not like think of the introduction of some of the other villains or key characters from Star Wars when you meet them for the first time, right? The Emperor in The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader,
Mm-hmm.
and he walks through the very first appearance of Darth Vader. There was none of that. There was just a bunch of stormtroopers chanting Thrawn.
Yeah, not
Like-
even the soundtrack did anything to elevate the
Right.
either character.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a weak introduction to the character of Thrawn. And then Sabine is, and Thrawn, at least as I have read in the books, I'm more familiar with the book version of Thrawn than I am the version that's in Rebels. That version of Thrawn is this brilliant philosophical strategic general. That's why he's a grand admiral, right? He's this guy who can conquer a planet by studying the artwork of that planet to understand what they fear. There was nothing like that. No indication that there's no like, I just think of some of the, and a lot of the best exchanges in Star Wars have the least dialogue and almost no pauses, right? There was so much dead time in this. It just was so much dead time. You could really cut 10 minutes out of every episode of Ahsoka and not lose anything. But by contrast, you look at One Piece. One Piece is all about the motivations of the characters. Yes, they're searching for the One Piece. I don't care as much about them searching for the One Piece as I care about Luffy and what he wants, you know, or Zoro or Nanji. Like when you get to know the backstories of all these characters from One Piece, you really care about their journeys. And there is so much backstory to every character in One Piece. I'll discuss One Piece in a little bit. But again, another colossal disappointment in what should have been the two biggest moments in the show.
Mm-hmm.
The introduction of Thrawn and getting to know him as a character. He seemed boring and bored. He was like someone took one of the sort of admirals from the fleet, Admiral Piet, who was in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and they just painted him blue. Is he a tool? He just didn't seem to command a presence or instill fear. He certainly instilled loyalty, but how? Show don't tell. And when you hear the conversation between Baylan Skoll and Thrawn was just, I don't know, it was like a meeting. It was like a Zoom meeting. It was boring. And then Sabine comes in and she lets him go like, oh, see if you can find Ezra. And she finds him in about a couple hours. Why didn't he go off and find Ezra?
Yeah. You know, what was missing was when they finally meet Thrawn, give us an idea of what he's going to do now that he's free.
Right.
But there's none of that. Thrawn is now focused on the arrival of Ahsoka,
Right.
and then the search for Ezra, which he didn't care about for the longest time. And now that Sabine is here, well, now he cares. Look, that might be an interesting plot twist, but I don't understand why. You know, why did he not hunt him down before? Why did he wait for nothing? I mean, he didn't even know Sabine was coming. See, this is the problem with the story is there's not a lot of logic put behind it. Yes. And there's, I think the biggest thing is this series is about masters and apprentices. And that's not, you don't build a series on that. I'm sorry, you build a series on a story and the story takes this idea of masters and apprentices and shakes it to its core in a way that, at the end you realize why a master needs an apprentice. They're just showing us different examples of masters and apprentices, and saying that's your series. I hope you're happy.
Well, here we go. So there's the two moments. The Grand Admiral Thrawn entrance was a colossal disappointment. The reuniting of Sabine with Ezra. So now we see Ezra is living in a hut with a bunch of turtle people that are meant to just be. And by the way, I will debate people about this. There's always something cute in Star Wars. In the very first Star Wars, the Jawas were cute. R2-D2 was cute. Why is R2-D2 cute? Because when they came up with the language, this sort of computer language that R2-D2 should speak to express they self, there's no gender to the robots. Who cares? R2-D2, I'm going to say R2-D2 is a him. When he beeps and boops, R2-D2's beeps and boops are based on how a baby would sound, or a toddler, or a young child. That's how they said, well, just like, what would a baby would coo, a baby would do this, a baby would kind of whine, a baby would be frustrated and kind of cry. That was the sound design thing that Ben Burt and George Lucas kind of came up with for R2-D2. It's amazing. So there's something cute in every Star Wars movie. So I don't mind that they're these cute little, in The Empire Strikes Back, it was the Ugnaughts, the Ewoks, of course, in Return of the Jedi. Every Star Wars movie or show, there's something cute in it. That's fine. Didn't bother me. But when they reunite, first of all, we're meeting Ezra for the first time. We're hearing about him. We don't even know the circumstances or why he's so important. The second thing is we're seeing Sabine's reaction, and they open with a joke. You wouldn't think that she would just run up to him. There he is, and just hug immediately. There's time for jokes after. I just felt like
how about
awkward.
How about a tear? How about a tear?
Yes, bursting into tears. Here's the goal that I've wanted. Even though, if you're going to tell me why it's important to you, you've got to tell me why it's important. You have to express it in your emotions. I just felt like, and I don't blame the actors. It really is. These are director choices.
Yeah, and stuff like that would be in the script.
Right. So weak script and kind of weak directing. So the reuniting Sabine with Ezra is just it just felt like anticlimactic.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you criticize us for not having seen Rebels, help us understand why this is the greatest scene of all time.
Why is this important? Why is this important?
And of course, and why is the reaction that the two of them presented to us? Why is that the best way you could have told that reunion, that you could have presented that to us?
Well, I'll just say this: the best thing in the episode was Baylan Skoll. Ray Stevenson's acting and that character, you can see he's kind of conflicted in a way. You can see that he may have his own plans in mind. And I think that he's the best character. He's certainly better than Grand Admiral Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn left no impression on me. Mm-hmm. I didn't think, oh my God, that was, the show may not be that great, but the guy who plays Grand Admiral Thrawn is badass. It's like they keep saving stuff. Don't save it. Get right to it. Cut to the chase. Just get me to the good parts. Don't save it for we're going to do that in the movie. Well, we're going to do this. We're saving this for this. No, challenge yourself. Put the best stuff out there. Then it challenges you to come up with better stuff. There's another show that's been doing that. It's called One Piece. I watched the first 2 episodes last week. Then last Saturday, I just stayed home and watched all 6 in a row. And I plan to watch it again this weekend at a pool party. We're going to watch it. And I specifically got a pirate themed floating cooler just for this party. So a One Piece viewing party, because I want to see the show again. In any case, look, it's not getting better. And what I would say, some of the best moments that should be great moments are missed opportunities. Alan, any final thoughts on this episode?
The biggest yeah, going forward, we're way ahead of the plot. I think we know how it ends. What are the odds that Sabine will be able to move a rock by the end of the series? You know, they're just telegraphing things. You know, there's going to be this ultimate battle between Thrawn and Ahsoka. You know, that's going to happen. You know, it's like I have no idea. Yeah, sorry. I'm just so frustrated with this series because there's just nothing exciting. The cliffhanger. I remember it being nothing other than Ahsoka's about to arrive, and I think it went black at that point. You know,
Yeah.
so why am I? You know, Dave Filoni. I don't know where he learned to write stories, but this is just not good. And yeah, that's
All right,
you know,
let's go to your.
I love the chat. You made us do this. I mean,
No, it's
I
fine.
still love you guys, but oh my god.
All right, we're gonna go to chat comments and questions, but we're going to have a poll. We're going to put up a poll, and we're going to ask a question in this poll. And the poll question is going to be very simple. You will decide. Okay, so you decide this really quick. It's just a very simple question because we were sent a link to a movie, and we're going to let the chat will decide. Should we review Amber Heard's new movie In the Fire? Yes or no? Wait a sec. Should Alan review?
No, I think we both need to do this.
All right. Should we review Amber Heard's new movie In the Fire? Put that as a poll question. Yeah. Now we're going to go to your comments.
By the way, I should read the synopsis real quick, just so you get the breadth of her role in this. But
all right, let's hear it.
Amber Heard plays a doctor from New York who travels to a remote plantation in the 1890s to care for a disturbed boy who seems to have inexplicable abilities. She begins treating the child, but in doing so ignites a war of science versus religion with the local priest who believes the boy is possessed by the devil and is the reason for the village's woes. Doesn't that sound exciting?
Well, let's see. Yes or no, should we review it? It's going to come out. It's an indie movie.
Comes out next month.
Limited release. What's that?
Comes out middle of next month.
Okay, so middle of October. Should we review it? Yes or no? Let's go to your comments and questions about Ahsoka episode 6. And we are going to be talking spoilers, so open conversation here. BMO Better says Alan is spot on. The introspect, Sabine made such a huge deal about finding Ezra for 5 episodes. Then she sees him and is like, oh, hi. Oh, hi, yeah. Ezra. Makes no sense.
Not a single tear. Not a single tear.
Gun Home Mac, they traveled to a new galaxy and found Ezra in less than an hour. Yeah. Yeah. Super chat here from Darth Racer 777 for 5. A rating here of 4 out of 10. Balin is the most interesting character. Rest of the cast uses high school acting. Plotting plot and a fat Thrawn, just laughable in places. So, yeah. Thank you for your support there. Alex Pan says Thrawn is too short, too fat, and nothing like in the old Thrawn trilogy. Not my Thrawn. Just not impressive. I think the actor could have pulled it off.
Did you? I mean, you've read Thrawn. I mean,
I've read the Heir to the Empire books. Yes.
Yes,
back,
but I mean,
when they first came out.
Yeah, but does he at least feel familiar from what you've read?
Well, he looks like it, but maybe could be a bit more fit. Probably a bit more fit. I think would have made more sense. Ezra kind of looked like Space Jesus. Yeah, I think that's what they're calling out here. Bed for Mercy says Thrawn should be renamed to Dad Bod. Phil Gone says Thrawn is a threat because of the things he did in the books, which aren't canon anymore. Yeah. And Script Doctor coming in hot says we see Thrawn, Sabine finds Ezra, and 40 minutes of time were wasted to get to those points. Yeah, not much happens.
Yeah. Well, there was that little fight. which revealed the turtle people at the end.
Yeah.
That was the point of the fight, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Balin hunts after them by finding the remnants of the dead bodies of Sabine. So there you go. That was your episode. That was the excitement.
Phage lives for $4.99. Where's the poll? Ms. P Coffee, is there a poll there? I'm sure it's there. Thank you, Phage lives. R.I.P. Star Wars. Because I can't believe some people are saying Dave Filoni does a better job directing Hayden than George Lucas. Yeah, I didn't see that myself. Ministry of Wrongthink for $9.99. Without the context of the cartoons, Ahsoka's lesson from Anakin can literally be described as wanting to live is good for my life. 10 out of 10 writing. Pilgrim Media for 2. Yeah. Judge Gore, Ahsoka will not save Star Wars. And MK Solid 82 for $4.99. Fans are praising Ahsoka as the best piece of Star Wars with reels of grown men crying over Hayden's cameo. People are holding on to breadcrumbs. Pathetic. Thumbs down. The Introspect M. Nothing wrong with cute characters and stuff for kids. It's always been a part of Star Wars. It's just there. As long as you know. That's my problem with Jar Jar. I'll defend Jar Jar in the prequels. The problem with Jar Jar was screen time. There's always been something cute and comedic. If anything, R2-D2 was cute in the first Star Wars film. C-3PO was the comic relief. And they were George Lucas described them as like Laurel and Hardy, this little comedy duo, right? Which is fine.
Well, and let's not forget Ewoks and the merchandising bonanza that created at Return of the Jedi.
Well, there's nothing wrong with cute characters and stuff for kids, but they should still be purposely integrated into the story, not just thrown on screen. I thought that it was whatever. I mean, it was just a way to get to Ezra.
They were fine. I don't have a problem with the turtle people. That's what happened when he was exiled to the planet, and we got to sell merch. So there you go.
We got to sell merch. Script Doctor says we found Chris's new RRR. Well, I love One Piece. It's might be the second best show I've seen this year, next to Picard season 3.
By the way, have you seen Jawan yet?
I haven't seen Jawan. It's the timing. I saw a terrible Chinese film yesterday.
You could have seen Jawan instead of a terrible Chinese film.
Either this show is going to be 3 hours or our Friday show is going to be 3 hours, because we're not getting to everything that we have to talk about. Yep. There's way too much to discuss. But thank you, Script Doctor. Always good to hear from you. Jurassic 4x4 is a member for $4.99. Fast forwarded through the wolf scene because I knew it wouldn't mean anything. Yeah, it's all meaningless. Let's see. Sly Noodle says Ahsoka made Alan have a stroke.
Oh my God. It's just, they're going to chase after Sabine and Ezra and they're going to win. And it's like, there's just nothing.
Brock Samsonite, because it's about masters and apprentice relationship, you grow attached to your students and teachers. It's about learning to let go of your feelings of abandonment or regret. Well, there you go. Continuing with comments, Raylo Normie, I need to share this. My 10-year-old son and 12-year-old daughter begged to binge One Piece. They asked if they had to keep watching Kenobi after 10 minutes. Never been back to Star Wars since. That's the funny thing that they don't understand. Like many people, we're not this movie or Star Wars is not for 50-year-old Star Wars fans, the old fans. We're making it for a new audience. The new audience doesn't like it. Star Wars is not cool with kids. It just isn't. You know what's cool with kids? Marvel, or at least it used to be. It used to be cool with kids.
Yeah, they say it takes a lot of time and effort to gain a fan and only seconds to lose them.
Yeah. So we're going to end that poll in about 5 minutes. So make sure you vote. Basically, should we review the new Amber Heard movie, which is a movie that is coming out in October? I'm pretty sure they referred to R2-D2 as him or he. That's true because Kenny Baker was in the Kenny Baker, a little person, was actually physically in the R2-D2 They actually had a costume that had these like vacuum tubes. What's weird is like sometimes the vacuum tubes are there for him to kind of like waddle and walk, and sometimes they're not. It's
But
weird.
but I can't recall a time where R2 was referred to as a pronoun rather than just R2.
Yeah, they just always say R2.
Yeah.
The Introspect M says the shills that say, well, if you'd watched Rebels, you'd get it, should watch One Piece. I've never seen the anime, but the live action makes perfect sense and is enjoyable by anyone.
You understand the characters. You understand
100%
their
agree.
motivations.
Jonathan Carter Shaw, good to see you here, John. The streaming model enables all kinds of malfeasance, from pet projects to outright propaganda. Rely on a pay-per-view model and creators get their rightful pay, and studios will bend to the audience. The problem is streaming has killed all of that. Streaming has made television shows and movies less valuable, because it's sort of like when a movie that you would traditionally be at a theater would go direct to video. It was like, oh, it's direct to video. It's not as meaningful. Same thing. And you can't put the toothpaste back in the toothpaste tube. You can't put it back in the tube. It's out. You pay $5 or $10 or $1.99 for Disney Plus, and you get to watch all this stuff. Audiences are now spoiled and expected, and that's fine. The industry did it to itself. But the model of, movie comes out in theaters, you can only see it in theaters, then it comes out on Blu-ray or physical media, you can only see it on physical media, then at some point it comes out on television or a streaming service. But you're right. Brock Samsonite, who's a member, says this is why Anakin shows up to teach Ahsoka this lesson in episode 5 in a vision like Luke's cave moment on Dagobah, because Ahsoka almost killed Shin over Sabine, her student. She became attached. Mike Dude for 499. Episode 5 is one of my favorite things I ever watched, but can easily understand why people don't like it, especially those who haven't grown up with Clone Wars. That's fine, Mike Dude. Make me care. Make me care.
Yeah.
Ensign Red Shirt Ricky says Sabine will be a Force user by the end of this series. Filoni is now saying just wanting to use the Force can give you access to it. Total BS.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
She keeps trying. It'll happen.
Big Worm says, I went and watched Rebels. None of the rebel characters act like themselves in Ahsoka. Sabine negates Ezra's sacrifice. Sabine and Ezra were just buds. Yeah, there's no romance. I was talking about that. There's no romance in Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. I like romance, comedy, action, suspense, story, and characters that I can relate to. I don't need to identify with the characters. I just want to be able to relate to them.
Yeah. Has there been romance in Disney Star Wars? I think you mentioned
none. Like
you mentioned it almost.
Yeah. None. There wasn't in the Star Wars sequel films. The freaking Star Wars sequels. That was the first thing I remember noticing was, one, the fact that they killed Han Solo in a stupid way. You can't redeem a character like Kylo Ren after that. There's no way. I don't see how you do it. The other thing is there was no romance. And then Rey at the end of The Force Awakens freaking friend zones Finn. It's ridiculous. I almost went to rant stage.
Yeah.
There should be like a little meter when it gets to the top, sort of like a power bar on like a fighting game. When it gets to the top, I'm fully powered, and then I can do a rant.
Yeah. Well, let's remember there was romance in episode 4, A New Hope, when Luke fell in love with Leia, his sister.
I love that.
Yes.
I love it. Bling978 said they even dropped more member berries with the robot saying "far, far away" line. Be more original, please. That was cringe. At the beginning, telling a story like Once Upon a Time, that was freaking cringe. Really enjoyed screening of Rain Man at Regal, says Ban Brindlebeard 3. 199. Yeah, they're re-releasing classic films, a lot of Fathom events, and I love it. Let's see what the result of the poll is. Okay, we have about almost 500 votes. Let's end the poll. And now the answer. The answer you've been waiting for. Should we review Amber Heard's In the Fire? What are the results? Put it in the private chat. Ms. P. Coffee working tirelessly.
I understand it's a very close vote.
It is close.
Oh my gosh.
It is really close. Boy. Okay. Out of 466 votes, the yes is at 51%. That is
wow.
That's like if this was a presidential election, that would be a landslide. 51%. But it's actually in real life, that's just a close. Yeah, that's very close. I wouldn't
there
call
are dire consequences to this one.
I wouldn't call that a mandate, but it is over 50%. So that means that Alan, you and I, that means that you
and you you're not getting out of this.
We'll be reviewing Amber Heard's In the Fire. By the way, when we were having that discussion, I put the 50 best breasts in movie history. I put it on the front page of Film Threat. If you go to filmthreat.com and you scroll down, there's the article. Yeah. I just thought, let's just update. We got to update it. I think that maybe do the 100. We need to update.
Yeah, we need to do 100. We'll do 100.
Let's do 100, and we just need 25 more women, and we include more. We have to update.
Contemporary.
Right. So there you go. We'll do that. All right. Well, we're reviewing it. Alan, did we get a screener copy to discuss?
I can ask. I'll ask for one. I'm pretty sure they'll give it to us.
Okay. Have them send it to me and you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I'm pretty sure they're going to want people to watch the Amber Heard movie.
All right. Back to your comments, questions here. Script Doctor says, enjoy the Amber Heard movie, Chris and Alan. It was a close vote. I'm surprised. Normally our viewers want to torture us. I mean, in a good way, in a fun way.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
I mean, let's face it. A lot of times we put up polls and we kind of know the outcome. This one, I was like, this will be an interesting one because it could really go either way.
I'm just excited that the boob article, we're going to update the boob article.
What can I get for you, sir?
A boob. At least one.
Great choice.
Why did you just show that?
Well, we're going for 50 on this one. 50.
50. All right. Alan Horkin says, film sounds bad, but I think Film Threat should review it anyway, says Alan Horkin. Well, I mean, it's going to be reviewed on the website. Do we review it? We review very, technically speaking, because Alan and I are just two people. We review a select movies on YouTube. If you visit Film Threat with any frequency, you're going to see a lot of reviews by a lot of different voices. Mm-hmm. Okay. I do not write reviews any longer. I only do reviews on YouTube. Alan does reviews on YouTube and on the website. So I love reading Alan's stuff. Yeah. Sorry, Alan, I tried, says BMO Better. That is what it is.
I mean, look, this movie is probably going to get reviewed on the site anyways. The question was who, and it sounds like it's me.
Sounds like it's, oh my God.
Believe me, there are other writers who would have done it.
Well, there you go. All right. Let's talk about, we're going to pivot. We're going to talk about One Piece. I have seen One Piece, the entire series. So I have seen all 8 episodes of One Piece. And let me just say, it was like potato chips. Every time I finished an episode, I had to watch the next episode. That little bar at the bottom, watch next episode, could not move fast enough. Every episode ends with a cliffhanger, and we get to know all of these characters. Monkey D. Luffy is this bright-eyed optimist, and we see his backstory as a kid and how he is imbued with these powers of being able to stretch his body by eating the devil fruit. And devil fruit will gift different powers to people who eat it. Powers will be different. We also meet his other compatriots in the story: Nami, Roronoa, Zoro, Sanji the cook, Kobe, who ends up joining the Marines and doesn't become part of Luffy's crew. We also meet other characters, antagonists. For example, Usopp, Buggy, and my personal favorite, Mihawk. Mihawk, I love Mihawk. I want to get me one of those little tiny swords he fought Zoro with. But this is a fantasy world set in a universe of pirates. It's more of a water world where there's just one sort of central continent that goes around this planet. They actually show you a map view so you get some sense of the geography. And then there are all these islands, and the quest is to find, there's a pirate that's that is basically executed at the beginning. A pirate that has caused chaos in the world is he's executed at the beginning and says, I am gifting the One Piece to anyone who can find it. And that sets off everyone in the world to trying to seek this treasure, the One Piece that was left behind. Monkey D. Luffy is, of course, one of these aspiring pirates, and he's off on an adventure and kind of assembles a crew. They're not a tight-knit crew at the beginning, let's just say that. They're a very reluctant crew when Monkey meets Zoro and Nami. It's sort of the trio at the start, and they collect more people along the way. I'm not going to go into details about the story, but I'm just going to tell you what makes it great. Every one is an incredibly original fantasy world. People communicate through snails. So they have effectively like cell phones, but they're snails. And you could put a snail in your ear. You can have a giant snail like a phone, like a rotary phone. It's very original. The pirate ship designs, very original. The antagonists, like Usopp, are just like they're weird with weird powers that I've never seen in anything. It also has this anime kind of mixed universe where it's like it's partially in pirate times, but it's also things about it are futuristic, but also things about it are modern, but then some things are not. There are fish people who were once enslaved, and there's a whole fish supremacy aspect to it. And the villains and the antagonists that get in the way of Luffy and his band of misfits at the beginning are so incredibly original. Mihawk being my personal favorite. So it's the setting in the fantasy universe. The second thing is everything is motivated by character. These are character journeys. The little details about exactly what happens, well, they've got to get the thing to do the thing. That's there, but that is not the thing that drives the story. The thing that drives the story are the characters, and each character, as the story unfolds over the course of these 8 episodes, the 8 episodes is effectively the origin of Luffy's crew. That's without going into any detail, because it doesn't matter. What is so charming about the show is the characters, and the fact that like there's so much of a deep backstory, not just to the world, but to the characters themselves. We eventually see, how did Luffy get to be to get these stretching powers? How did Zoro, and what was the motivation for Zoro to become the greatest swordsman who ever lived? That's his goal. Why does he have this goal? What does it mean? Why does he have a third sword? He fights with 2 swords. He has a third sword. What is the meaning behind this third sword? Once you discover what the meaning is, it'll break your heart. And my feeling is there's much more to that story. There's such a depth of the characters. That's what makes it so great. Even Kobe, which is this character who could have been a part of Luffy's crew, but wants to go a different direction, and Kobe joins the Marines. I love it. I love that each character has something within them that drives them today. It is, and to be clear, I am an anime noob. I like certain types of anime. I've gotten into Dragon Ball Z. I've enjoyed. Saw the recent one in theaters. Akira. I've watched Legend of the Overfiend. Don't Google it. Do not Google that. Legend of the Overfiend. If Netflix does a live action Legend of the Overfiend, I think that's already been done. Please don't look that up. But in any case, I'm a casual anime fan. I am going to experience for the first time going to a convention like Los Angeles Comic-Con, and I'm going to be able to recognize anime cosplay. And I'm going to be able to look at the person dressed in this anime cosplay and say, hey, great Luffy cosplay, or, great Zoro cosplay. Because whenever I see like anime cosplay when I'm at a convention like San Diego Comic-Con or Dragon Con, I just go, it's anime. I don't know what that is, but was literally blown away with the depth of character, the accessibility of it, the fact that like this appeals not just to young kids, but can also have an appeal to adults and the deeper layers. I could not love this more. I cannot wait for season 2. Really what season 1 did was just set up the story. I can see this going several seasons. Please have an end game in mind. Netflix, don't have this go on until we lose interest, which is kind of what happened to me with Stranger Things. I kind of lost interest. I think there's a finite number of seasons, maybe 3 to 5 seasons. Tell the story. Even the anime hasn't finished the story. There's 2 more seasons of anime and over 1,000 episodes of the anime. And the anime actually is on Netflix. And it did get me interested in seeing the anime. But I am in love with this show, Alan. I cannot recommend it enough. I even think that your daughter would love the show.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, she's upset that I watched.
Don't you watch the show with her?
Yeah, she was upset that I did not watch it with her, and so I'll just say it again. It's a matter of time. I just don't have time right now, and I'll be honest. I mentioned it last time. It looks like humans acting like anime characters, and that was the impression I got. But definitely better than anything that's being put out right now. So I think eventually I get there. I just don't want to criticize it if I haven't seen it. So,
well, binge it and watch it together.
Yeah.
Binge it and watch it together.
Yeah, I mean the whole series, like the gigantic thing, is about finding the One Piece, right?
That's not going to happen until the last season, if it happens.
It'll never. It should never happen. That's the thing.
Well, look at Lost and look at the original Lost in Space television series from the 60s. They never got home. Look at Star Trek, the original series in 1966. They never finished the 5-year mission. However, if you watch Star Trek Continues, that show brings the Enterprise home to Earth and basically concludes what if they finished the 5-year mission. Very good by Vic Mignogna, who also happens to do anime voices. $49.99 from Matthew Hammond, an incredibly generous super chat. One Wednesday, do a tier list of Hollywood bobs from S tier to F. Once the 100 best bobs. We're talking about bobs. I don't think we're talking about bobs here. We're talking about boobs. His article is updated. You may need to send out a document with each set of bobs for research. Invite guests. Gary and Az might be a Rumble exclusive. We'll definitely update the article. I put it on the
I'm not sure we're going to make an event out of it.
Why wouldn't we make an event out of it?
I don't know. I mean, for the fact that we have to call them bobs, for one thing.
I'll give you 49.99 reasons why we should make it into an event. We'll make it maybe a member exclusive and a Rumble exclusive or something. We'll do something. But thank you, Matthew Hammond. That's very generous. More of your comments and remarks on this here. Portland 182. No Studio Ghibli on your anime list, Chris? Of course. But that we're talking about anime series. So yeah. And
By
that's
the way,
and there's other things like
put up a poll and see if Chris should dress up as Luffy at LA Comic-Con.
I bought a hat.
Yeah,
I was on
you're halfway there.
Temu. I was on Temu, and it just says, it doesn't say Luffy hat. It looks exactly like his hat from the show. And it just says cartoon hat. And I bought it. I'll wear it. Bling 978. There is an interview with Jamie Lee Curtis in 2021, 2022, who is a One Piece fan. It would be down for playing a role in season 2.
Oh.
Solomon Thornton. Chris, I recommend watching Ghost in the Shell. I've seen it. Ninja Scroll and Perfect Blue. I've seen like movies, but I've not gotten into many anime series. Really, I'm a sort of a commitment phobe when it comes to committing to a series. Sanji would be a better fit for Chris, says Marco CCS65. I love Sanji. That sort of anime hair that covers his eye, the cool anime suit with the shoulder pads. I love it. Akira is probably my favorite anime. And I used to buy the manga. I still have some. Sean Z, member for 8 months. Chris should dress up. I'm with Alan. I'll get the hat.
Yeah, well
Retro,
you can get a red shirt and a red vest, I guess, and
sure, and shorts. I'll look like
jorts.
An out of shape Luffy. Like I've been looking for the One Piece for 30 years.
Forever.
Yeah. Hey, Retro Nerd Girl, subscribe to her channel. I want to see this show just to have to fit it in my insane schedule. Hearing great things about this. I've heard it from everybody. Finally had to binge it. Retro Nerd Girl, you're gonna love it. I can't praise it enough. And what I like is it is pure fantasy. And it's really the characters are what make the show. It's just very lovable. Thank you, Retro Nerd Girl. Subscribe to her channel. Thomas Tulak, they have cell phones, but they're snails. Okay, we have to lower your dose. No, the snails are how they communicate instead of cell phones. I should have described it. I shouldn't even said anything. B Mo Better says, Alan, does One Piece have any good Asians in it?
Yeah, Zoro. I think I responded to that one, but Zoro is Asian.
All right. And Chief Toad, they certainly invest you into the characters with those flashbacks in record time. You know, Ahsoka could have used that. Ahsoka could have used some context for why I should care about Ezra. Why do I care?
And let's just say that there's so much time wasted in the show that they could have invested that wasted time in character development.
And you know what's inexpensive? Character development. Some of the best scenes in One Piece, there are no special effects. That to me is when I know I'm watching something special. If only the special effects scenes stand out, like that's not good. I mean, some of the best scenes in the Marvel movies are when Tony Stark is confronting Steve Rogers. There's no special effects. It's two guys angry at each other with different views of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So there you are. Just a few more comments. We have a special guest coming. We're going to keep talking about movies here as we do. Chernobyl Comedy and Wings. I don't like the pacing in the anime. The pacing in the show is much better. Yeah, I've heard that complaint, says Chernobyl Comedy and Wings. And Hayden75, I've seen the first 2 episodes of One Piece so far. The CG is a little weird, but ultimately I think they pulled it off. Great show so far. Here's what's funny. When you care about the characters, I don't care if the special effects are weak. You overlook special effects that are weak if the characters are strong. And a final comment here from Wes War Monkey. The snails make more sense than Sabine surviving the stab with a lightsaber. War Monkey, that makes a lot of sense. So One Piece is great. We're going to talk about more movies later. This is going to be a longer show. I hope you're ready, Alan.
Yeah.
One last super chat here. Chris, I will organize a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood watch party for you. If you like character-driven story, you will love it. And it's only 64 episodes total. Back me up, chat. Do a poll, says Jordan for 10. If it's on a service, let me know what service it's on. If it's something I already have, or perhaps something that I can subscribe to, I'll do it.
Do you have Crunchyroll?
I love
My
Crunchyroll.
assumption is on.
I'll subscribe every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just not like, and I prefer like indie movies and documentaries, and I like anime, but it's not my thing. It's got to be something really, really special.
Yeah, my daughter has a long list of anime she wants me to watch. And 64 episodes. I mean, that's I don't
All right.
have that kind of time.
All right. Quick pivot here. We're going to pivot. Stick around. Please stick around. We're going to be talking to a couple filmmakers that we've got other movies to discuss. Going to be a longer stream today. Alan, I should have prepared you. So I have a link. I have a link to the boobs article. I'm going to send it to you, Ms. P. Coffee. Here it is. Yeah. Private chat. There it is.
Yeah, and also it's on.
Sorry about that.
I had to fix it, but it's on the front page now. It's not the main banner, but
it's got to be.
You didn't put the year down. That was the problem.
Well, Alan, I'm mad at you about something else we'll talk about later.
Okay.
I'm pissed. Alan and I had a discussion on River. I was pissed at Alan for something that we're gonna we'll suss it out. We'll suss it out later. We've got filmmakers coming on here. Let's talk to the director of Same Page, a feature indie movie that, well, is it out now? We're going to find out. Yeah. Because Emanuel Ramirez is here. Emanuel, thank you for coming on the Film Threat Livecast. Good to see you, sir.
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Doing good. Same Page is reviewed on the Film Threat website. It's coming out. Is it out now on video on demand?
It'll well, before you got me curious. What are you mad at him about?
Oh,
it was such like I was like, wait, what?
Hey, I'll tell you what I meant. He reviewed a movie on another channel first before he reviewed it on the Film Threat channel.
Oh,
I'm mad at Alan.
Yeah, there's good reason for it. I'm just saying.
All right, we're gonna keep watching the show. You'll see. But I was messaging Alan last night, like, what are you doing? Go on another channel's review. You got to review it on. I don't care if you review it like after you've discussed it somewhere else.
Right.
But discuss it here first.
The betrayal.
Yeah. And I should have been drunk at the time. And
Alan, he stabbed me in the back, just like a pirate out of One Piece. I love Alan. Alan's awesome. It's really fun to do the show together every week.
You guys are great.
Yeah,
I've never loved a man more than I love Alan right now.
You and 100 other men.
Oh, nice. I love that.
Anyways, I'm so sorry, Emanuel. I didn't mean to derail. Same Page is your feature indie movie. Congratulations! It's so difficult to get an independent film made. It is now out on video on demand. Am I correct?
Yeah, we have the premiere coming up October 5th. So that'll be the same day as the release, exactly 2 weeks from now. So right now you can pre-order the movie online on samepagemovie.com. So that's what will be released worldwide.
I will put the link in the description to this. Tell us about Same Page.
Oh man, it's been such a journey. Do you remember me and you first started emailing? It must have been like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yes. I have a lot of indie filmmakers that ask questions like, should I do this? Yeah. And I'm just like, hey, don't sweat it. Like, when you're ready, come to us at Film Threat.
100%. Yeah, because I read your book. I got a hold of your book and I read the whole thing because I was trying to figure out like the film festival circuit and everything. It's like its own little world. And then at the end of it, I think you say, hey, if anything, reach out to me. So I was like, okay, I will. So I did. And you answered me. I was really grateful for it.
I answer, unlike Alan, I answer all my email. But I always look like if I get like a giant thing of text, I'm like, what's the action item? Like, but like if someone just asks me a really simple question, I respond. But look, first of all, I have to congratulate you because it's so hard to get an independent film made, a feature film. And there's so many people in this industry that complain, why won't the industry give me an opportunity?
Yeah.
The film industry owes you nothing.
100%.
And by the way, film festivals is a great place to promote your movie, but it's not the only pathway. You can self-release your film. So you did that, Emanuel. Tell us about the story for Same Page.
Yeah, like you said, it started around, I'm going to say 2021. You know, everything was going on with COVID. Everything was shut down. I was still auditioning here and there, but obviously not as much as I could have been. And I just, you know, I'm in New York, so I kind of absorb everything that's going on. So it just comes from, you know, stories from friends, reading books, just seeing things that I've always seen. And at its core, it's about Jason and his girlfriend, Jennifer, who's going through, you know, some hard times. They come from completely opposite sides of the world. And he's now lost his job. He used to be a drug dealer before he met her, but he gave it all up for her. And now that he's lost his job, he just doesn't feel like a man anymore. So they start arguing, and he's trying to keep it together. And he gets an idea, like we tend to do, men. I'll do this to fix it. And he wants to do this thing that he's saying is going to solve everything. But he's looking outwardly. He's not looking at what he actually needs to fix, which are basic things that she actually just wanted him to listen to her more, to give her more support, to be there for her. But they don't communicate well enough to know these things. They don't communicate with each other. They just expect the other person to know, as we tend to do. So he goes on to throw this wild party. He gets what he needs. And then at the end of it, she's like, wait a minute. No, you lied to me here. And I remember, yeah, go ahead.
Well, can I ask? So you play the lead character.
Yeah.
So he was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Go ahead. Yeah.
What, do you have any? I mean, does this come from? Obviously,
What are you asking, Chris?
And, well, no, maybe it comes from a real life experience. I don't know if you want to divulge that on a live stream, but
right.
I'll say this: that the thing that separates small indie movies from larger films, which is why it's interesting to talk to you today, is smaller indie movies are character driven because it doesn't cost. You don't need a huge amount of special effects to tell a story that is character driven. You need an interesting story. I was just talking to some friends about this new Nicolas Cage movie called Dream Scenario. Did you see the trailer?
Yeah.
It's about a guy, just a normal, average, kind of almost like boring dude who just shows up in other people's dreams. Right. And the world is kind of freaked out by this. Like, why is this guy showing up in dreams? And to me, like, the best indie movies are about simple premises. So you're not going to answer the drug dealer question, are you?
Well, no, I'm not Walter White. No.
I was going to say that's a good way to find it.
Yeah, no, it just comes from just absorbing, you know. And as far as what you said earlier about simple, I was listening to you guys talking about Marvel, and one of the scenes that I'm a Marvel fan as well. One of the scenes from Endgame when Thor, you know, he's depressed throughout the whole movie. He's gained weight. He doesn't have the hammer, everything. And I always remember the scene when he goes back and he sees his mom.
Yeah.
And his mom kind of sits him down, right? He hasn't had a voice that he could really listen to because they've all passed away in the present moment. But now she sits him down. He's like, hey, it's okay. It's all right. You're still alive. You can get out of this. And he becomes like the little boy all over again. And then he doesn't know because he lost the hammer. He doesn't know if he's worthy because that was the thing kind of keeping him in check. So when he calls for the hammer, when they're going to go back to the present moment, he doesn't know if it's going to come. But she knew. She was like, it's just going to take a second. Because she knew him, obviously, from growing up with him and being his mom. He's just lost, but he's still himself. That's one of those moments that there's no CGI there. There's nothing crazy, you know, besides Rocket being there. So, yeah, it's one of those moments I was thinking about when you guys were talking just now.
Well, your movie, we're going to put a link in the description of this episode to see your film. We actually have another filmmaker coming out in about 10 minutes, but we also have a bunch of questions in the chat. Yeah. So let's go to our live chat questions here and comments, starting off with Black Star 1069. Oh no, Chris, you gonna get into trouble again? I think it's because I asked you that question. So, yeah. Fletcher Williams says, Fletcher Williams, I suck at games channel, asks, the website looks great. How long did it take to shoot?
It took us about 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
So, and also, by the way, that is pretty typical of a small indie movie, is like a 2 week, maybe 18-day shoot. That's pretty. I made a film that was shot in 18 days, which is actually like 3 weeks, 6-day weeks. But that's tough.
About that long, but we were rehearsing. Remember, at that time, it was only through Zoom. Like, in order to link up for the actual shoot, everyone had to get tested. We had to have protocols. It was, insane. But before that, we were doing Zoom rehearsals just separately. I kind of treated it like a play. Like, I would rehearse with one-on-ones. Let's just go over it. Then we have scenes where there's everyone. So we would do it that way just to get it, deep inside, so that by the time we showed up, it was just effortlessly. We're just doing the blocking.
Gotcha. More questions. Oh, sorry. More questions. Oh, go ahead, Alan.
Real quick. Yeah, but I had reviewed the original short film.
Yeah,
that you had done. What was that journey like from getting it from the short to the feature length?
Alan Horkin asks, I'm not entirely clear if Emanuel Ramirez directed or not. Might be confusing the short with the feature length version. You did both.
Yeah. I did both, obviously, because I was starting to, and it's something that I want to look at to do when I do my next one, start and direct in, is, that's really hard. But in this one, I had a ton of help that I got, people that I went to acting school with and everything. So, the journey was amazing, man. The things you learn, the little intricacies of things that you don't even think about when you're just acting on a project, or you just have one side of it, is amazing. I was just thinking about it with this film. I got to start it. I got to write it. I got to produce it. I got to cast it. I got to get the location. I got to do the whole festival run. Now the premiere, now talking to you guys. It's such a journey of all the things that go into it that no one's aware when you just show up to do a project. You're just an actor for hire. So it's one of those things that is so rewarding and that I'm so grateful for, and makes me excited for when I sit down and I start writing the next one.
More questions here. Solomon Thornton asks, greetings, Sir Emanuel. Any advice for beginning filmmakers?
Well, first off, I like the sir. Wow. What's funny? I was listening to you guys talk about the strike a couple of weeks back, what's going on, because it's here in New York. And I know a couple of people who are there, and some people are getting down about it. I know I have a couple of friends who, acting wise, are really going through it. I would just say follow, first of all, your passion. Figure out what it is you want to do. And if you love it, if this is something you want to do, then at times you have to kind of be willing to cancel out the noise and just listen to that initial love that you had for it. And try not to judge it and get in your own way. A lot of times, this isn't good enough. I can't do this. This isn't. And we're our own worst enemies. And a lot of times, just do it. Just sit down, write what you want to write, pick a project, and get started. A lot of times when I have to work out, when I have to go to the gym, whenever I have to do anything productive, I don't want to do it in the beginning. I'm like, I don't know. But then I always find, as I go, okay, let me just show up, and you get in that process of it. You always feel better after a workout. You're always like, oh man, why was this so hard? Man, why didn't I just come in? So I would just say be unstoppable. Follow your intuition, follow your love, follow your passion, and trust that that's going to get you to wherever it is you want to go.
We've got limited time, unfortunately, but we've got more questions here. Real quick, Jesse Abundus says, how long did it take to write the script?
That was a good 3 months, yeah.
And then
3 months, yeah.
Brock Samsonite, how difficult was it to play the lead while directing the piece?
It was really hard.
Yeah, what unique challenges did you face?
It was really hard, and thank God I had a friend of mine, Stephen Bond, who, I mean, he held my hand through this whole thing. You know, he stepped in when I had to do something, when I had something else I had to pay attention to. So I wouldn't say that I was the full director. I would give him more of that credit. Like I said, for the next one, I want to try to do both. Um, but man, it's such a challenge taking that hat off. You really have to have your performance at such a point that it can't be interrupted no matter what happens. But there's just so many things on set that happen. You know, someone doesn't show up on time. Hey, this person needs this. Hey, that. And that little second just can throw off your focus. So I would just say rehearse to a point, get good people around you, and trust with the process that you did.
And Retro Nerd Girl says, wow, love Emanuel's advice.
Thank you, Retro Girl.
The nerd far away, hail Mr. Ramirez. Is it more fun to film in a studio or on location? I know it's often necessary to be in one place or the other, but I like to hear about what people enjoy when making movies.
Oh, man, I would say for me, you know, on location is really fun, you know, being there in the environment because you want to feel it. As an actor, you want to feel where am I? What's going on? What are my tools that I'm going to use? So a lot of times when you're there, things come up that may not even be in the script, but they just make sense because you're there and you feel it and you get it in your instrument, in your body. You know, that's why the blocking is so important. Okay, what's my area here? What's my platform? And sometimes you go where you weren't even supposed to, but then it makes sense. There's a great scene in the movie where Jennifer, that's my girlfriend's name in the movie, played by Elise, was great. We have this moment where it's all kind of crashing down, and her parents are coming on this side, her dad's on this side, her mom, and they all find out about what I did, and we couldn't figure out the blocking. We were like, okay, how are we gonna come? And it all just happened spontaneously that her mom came here, her dad came here, and she came in between like, no. And I just looked at it and I was like, guys, that's the shot right there. We're just get out of the way. Look at it. It's happening right in front of us. So that's what I would say about location. As an actor, it's important to be there and feel it's your stage.
Well, I also think it's important for our channel, Film Threat, to feature filmmakers like yourself,
100%.
who just you're not waiting. This is also what I admire about you is I have one piece of advice for actors.
Go ahead.
Hire yourself, cast yourself. Stop going to these like auditions and whatnot and like, oh, I'm gonna, hope they hire me. Just hire yourself, write a piece of work. I mean, one of the most successful actors, a star, actually is Tom Cruise. What does he do? He develops movies for him to star in. And so that's the one. It's the same piece of advice I give to every single actor. Just hire yourself, develop. You don't even need to, you can actually get the rights to a screenplay. You took it upon yourself to actually write a script.
Right.
Spend 3 months on it, so kudos to you. Congratulations. Tell us, like, the movie is you can get it for pre-order now, is that right?
Yes, you can pre-order the film now, samepagemovie.com. It'll be available same day as the premiere. We're doing the premiere here in New York City. The tickets for the live premiere are still going out. The support has been amazing.
Oh, so you can actually buy tickets to it.
Yeah. The support has been amazing. Yeah, that's the website right there. It's just been a great journey and everything that's been going on. I feel really blessed and nothing but grateful. And like you said, it's just about, getting the work done. There's nothing that you have to wait for anybody to do for you. You could just get out there. Quentin Tarantino, he's one of the people I always looked up to, the way he just writes his own things, directs his own movies. And it all comes from your imagination. Your imagination's making all this happen. It's coming from you. And what's better than that? And wherever that leads, it leads. It doesn't have to be so result oriented. Like, I have to get here. No, just do it. Have fun with it. The most important part, right? That's what we forget as kids. We all just wanted to have fun with whatever we were doing. And now do the same thing, except you're doing something that you're passionate about and you want to pursue.
Well, Emanuel, thank you for coming on the show today.
We actually
I
had a
appreciate.
membership question.
Oh,
Scott
sure.
McKenzie. I
Member
don't know.
chat. Let's
Yeah.
get that question.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
there we
sorry.
Yeah.
Scott McKenzie, member for 11 months. Hey, Scott, good to hear from you. Where do you get your best inspiration from?
Oh man, so many places, you know. Sometimes you see a great performance and you go, "Wow, that is I'm ready to write. I'm ready to act. I'm ready to do whatever I need to do." But there's just so many people that I've looked up to for years that I can for years that I continuously go back to, you know, people like, you know, Muhammad Ali, people who always seem to scream their confidence out loud for anyone. You know, people who just spoke and kind of just said it. They said it and then they did it. I would always be like, oh my God, how do you know? So he was someone that I always looked up to. And in the business, certainly the Robert De Niro's of the world, the Daniel Day-Lewis's of the world, you know, the Al Pacino's of the world, the Meryl Streep's of the world, Viola Davis, all these people who, you know, whenever I see them in a film, the Leonardo DiCaprio, see them in a film, I know I'm going to get a great performance. And it's inspiring. Joaquin Phoenix, I just saw The Joker again. I've seen it 12, 15 times. You know, a great performance with truth and the simplicity that you guys were talking about is inspiring. You get lost. When I was a kid, that's what I loved about movies. For that hour and a half, however long the movie was, I was lost in it. I was in another world and I could just be whoever was on that screen. You know, and that's what I've always loved about filmmaking is that you're in a whole new world for an hour or whatever. Oh my God, what's going on with this person, that person? And it's a puzzle. In the beginning, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where this is going. And then it's revealed. And then, oh, that was why. Oh, it's thrilling.
Well, Emanuel Ramirez, thank you so much for being on the show. The movie is Same Page. You can go to the website I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's samepagemovie.com. Check it out. You can pre-order it. You can actually get tickets to the premiere in New York City. Congratulations again, Emanuel. Good luck on the film. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for talking to everyone here on the Film Threat Livecast.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I really want to make sure that I send gratitude to you guys because it's really hard to find a channel that was going to show me the support and give me direction. And like I said, you didn't have to take your time out to email me back a year and a half ago when I didn't know what to do about these festivals and everything. And you did. And I appreciate that. And you guys are definitely a pillar of something that could definitely be great for anyone who's trying to get into this business.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Take care, Emanuel. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys. You have a good day. Okay.
Take care. Appreciate it. Now we're going to pivot. We're pivoting.
We're real fast.
This is what we do on the show. We plan out. This show is tight. Let's talk about a movie that's very different than the movie that we just talked about. This film may be one of the most offensive, raunchy comedies, a college raunchy teen sex comedy that in years. The Re-Education of Molly Singer is about a young woman tasked with making someone cool, a young man in college, cool. Check out the trailer. We'll put the link in the description. The Re-Education of Molly Singer. Check out the trailer. You have to see this. We have the director, Andy Palmer, here to explain himself.
That's right. That's right. I've done it. It's the Last American Virgin all over again. It's a remake, basically. Almost a shot-for-shot remake of that movie.
Well, first of all, I saw that movie the first time around, The Last American Virgin. Fun movie. This is you could say loosely an update of it, but I love raunchy comedies. Check out the trailer to everyone. We've got like almost 800 people watching live right now. Check out the trailer for this film. Maybe not right now. Put it in your bookmarks. But Andy, how did you get away with this at a time when comedy, it's almost like the comedy genre has kind of died, but I think audiences are hungry for it. How did you get this movie made?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that people want to laugh. I think that comedy has never felt, I guess, more dangerous, in a realm where there's, anybody can get canceled for anything at any time. Comedy is, but it's never more important, right? Because comedy is the thing that pushes the envelope of these things, and it's the thing that helps you question societal norms and stuff like that in this sort of sweet filled package. I think the key to comedy now is that comedy needs to be all inclusive. If we're going to be teasing people or we're going to be making fun of something, then we're making fun of everybody. Then everybody's fair game. There's no marginalizing one group or this group. It's basically pointing out the ridiculousness in everything. And that's sort of what we wanted to do in Molly Singer, is we wanted to take, I'm a big 80s, 90s movies fan. Obviously, I just pulled some obscure raunchy comedy from the 80s and like literally led with that. And so I love that. So I wanted to kind of create that vibe, but at the same time, make it more modern, make it feel a little bit fresh. And so we kind of pay tribute to the traditional college comedy and then put it in the world of the now.
So what went into did you have trouble selling it, or do you think that there is definitely an attitude? We've seen a few raunchy comedies this year. There's some people with some guts saying, "Hey, audiences are starving for it.
Yeah,
they want it. They want to see bring back." We were just earlier talking about boobs. There's an article on the Film Threat website, and the article is the 50 best boobs in movie history. And Alan we did an update of the art. Literally, it's 25 women. I didn't realize it was 50. So it's 25 women, but 50 best boobs in cinema history. But this is the kind of attitude and sense of humor that I just love to see come back and return. Did you have any difficulties or pushback from saying, "Hey, this is the kind of movie I want to make"?
No, I don't think so. I think everybody sort of got it. I mean, especially like the cast, Britt was the first person to come on, and she was like, she's like, I don't see movies like this. I haven't been doing movies like this. This is really fun. Like, this seems like a good time. And I like this character. The funniest thing is there's a scene in the movie where Jamie, who plays Ty Simpkins, Elliot's mom, she takes him to a strip club the day before he goes to college, which is kind of ridiculous comedy trope to begin with. But then it all becomes like a lesson in consent, she has this sort of ulterior motive. And I think that's what you do is you do these things where you're like, this is what you would do in a 90s comedy. And this is how we turn it around and make it work for today, and I think that's the key. That was Jamie's favorite scene. And then when I was talking to her on a Zoom, she's like, "When's that day?" And I was like, "Oh, that's actually your last day of filming." She's like, "All right, I wanted to start off with it because it's really fun, So it's like she loved that. I think that you're right. I think people want it, and you just do it in a way that that is just needling kind of everyone. Ironically, for as raunchy, languagey, and the things that kind of go on in this movie, we don't have any nudity in the movie. It's everything is sort of alluded to in the movie. So it's trying to be more of the now, but still give people the same feeling of when I went and saw American Pie for the first time and laughed my ass off,
Well, I think a return to those type of movies is something that audiences want, but there's like a small percentage of people maybe on social media that get offended by those things, and they don't have to see the movie. They don't have to see the movie.
That's true.
Right.
Everybody has the freedom to do whatever they want. Yes.
We have a lot of people watching us live right now. We have questions from our chat. Let's take a couple of questions from the chat. Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel. The movie has a very specific color palette. Did you use a set program? I just want to say something to Fletcher. Andy was just telling us about a scene where they go to a strip club and you're asking about color palette. I don't know about this question, Fletcher.
Fletcher's a nerd like I am, and I can go deep into the DaVinci Resolve LUTs that we use. So we're good to go here.
Okay, good. Well, if you would address this question, but I'm just saying we could go back to the strip club stuff anytime. If that's
Yes, because I want to learn about sound design.
Okay, we can talk about it all. I love it all. No, Fletcher, thank you for the comment. And yeah, that was the outset. You can actually see on my wall Molly in the yellow dress against the drab sort of green prison picture and stuff like that. And it, beyond being like, you know, a color correction choice or anything like that, it goes all the way back to the beginning where you're like, what do our costumes look like compared to what our production design looks like? And, you know, how are we shooting this? What lenses are we shooting this with? And stuff like that. I like bubblegummy, poppy colors and stuff like that. But in my mind, because I was like a 90s kid, when I thought of like the college movie, I will fully admit, I was like, clearly everybody's going to be wearing American Eagle and cargo shorts will just be raining down upon us all, you know? And my costume designer, Tora F, was like, no, we're going to do this. And it's going to contrast so well. And it's, you know, and it did, it just pops off the screen. But to answer your very technical question, we used, as a baseline, we used a LUT from, that was the color palette from the movie Knives Out. That seemed to kind of like balance with, our sort of look of the movie. And then when our colorist took over and looked at that LUT, then he went to town and made it his own.
All right, more comments and questions. Kara says, hello, it looks like a funny old school comedy. Congratulations on it. And Doc Savage asks, how did you swing Wendy Malick? She's gold. Bravo, good man. Bravo. Nice.
Yeah, Wendy, I think our producer, Todd Friedman, had some sort of connection to either her reps or Wendy in general. I had never in a million years thought that somebody like Wendy Malick would come on board for Mrs. Zimmerman, who's not in the film a tremendous amount, but she's so funny and she's the sweetest lady ever. And I've been, you know, talking a little bit about it. I'm brokenhearted because we actually had a second scene with her in the movie. And it's like this great scene with her and Britt and the kind of a heart-to-heart that they have, and we ended up having to cut it because it treaded very closely to the very next scene of the movie, which is this sort of heart-to-heart with Molly and Polly. And so it felt like you're just kind of repeating beats, and because Polly is Molly's ride or die, it felt like we had to, you know, that scene felt more important, more weighty. But Wendy is amazing, and hopefully maybe in the extra DVDs that scene will pop up.
Razorburn asks, Andy, which comedians influenced you? Red Fox? Richard Pryor?
Oh man. I mean, both of them are hilarious. Richard Pryor, I adore. My favorite bit from Richard Pryor is probably not one of his most famous bits, but when he's talking about George Foreman and he's like, I love George Foreman. You know why I love George Foreman? Because he has an interesting boxing style. None. He said, which one's the referee? Because I'm just going to kill the other man. But I love Richard Pryor.
Let's see. Slayer 96 DA the second. What is the most offensive joke you made? Or maybe
in the
a
movie?
Joke that, yeah, like in the movie, what could be considered an offensive joke without giving too much away?
Totally. Well, it's not me. I'm clean as a whistle. It's my actors. They have these dirty minds. So there's a scene where Molly, Britt's character, and Polly are trying to get back into school, and they get rejected by the housing board. The housing people are like, everything's full, F off. You know, you should have been here earlier. And they're walking back out, and Molly's like, man, that blew up quickly. And I think Polly says something like, yeah, this is the worst idea since the both of us tried anal bleaching. And so, I mean, that was like, and that was not in the script. You know, Nico had a litany of just dirty things that they had done together, you know? So that's a good dirty one.
Not Alan, can you Google anal bleaching for me? I just want to see what comes up in your browser history. Let's see. Solomon Thornton asks, Sir Andy, you've got elevated to a sir.
Oh, Solomon. Did we just become best friends?
What is your process for directing a comedy?
Couple things. From a technical standpoint, especially on this movie, I wanted to give the actors as many reps as possible. So it was about, when I got together with my DP, looking at the scenes and keeping camera setups to a minimum. We shot 2 cameras so that improv could be intercut very easily. We shot on zoom lenses, so we didn't have to stop down ever. We could just be swinging focal lengths if we needed to. And the next thing is, and then what that does is it just gives the actors reps, because if you minimize your setups and those sort of behind the scenes things, then you can add takes. And because we're throwing so many lines to each other and stuff like that, then when you get into the edit, it's not a matter of like, is this funny or not? It's what's the funniest bit that we had and what fits. Because the one thing I will say to aspiring comedy directors, if something is hilarious on set, like if somebody does something on set and everybody cracks up, all the crew and the gaffer is just, side splitting laughing, it will not play funny in the edit. I don't know what that is. I don't know what kind of karmic thing that is. But if it's hilarious on set, it's not hilarious in the movie. It takes you out of the movie.
More questions here. Brock Samsonite asks, what was the hardest part of filming for you? What did it teach you?
The hardest part of this movie was really, despite being kind of tail end of COVID and stuff like that and dealing with COVID protocols on a set and stuff like that, a challenge. The biggest challenge of this movie was that we were in Atlanta right when everything was opening up and everybody was shooting. Like we were the low man on the totem pole competing against Marvel shows and movies. So we were kind of constantly losing crew to bigger and better shows. And obviously you can't blame anybody if they get a job on the Wonder Years and it's 8 months long and our job is 2 weeks long, like why would they stay, So that was hard trying to having new people come in all the time because you want to, get that rhythm. But I credit my producers and all the kind of heads of department for, keeping that consistency, bringing new people in and keep going. But the hardest part is like we lost some locations because we just would get like outbid or something last minute. So the hardest part was getting locations late and having to create, recreate my blocking to suit the environment that we were now kind of thrust in. But we did it, we did it.
Another question from That's What She Said. What kind of camera did you use and what size do you like? I'm a C cup kind of guy. Hey,
there we go. That kind of harkens. Nice throwback to what we were talking about at the original part of the show. We shot on the Arri Alexa LF Mini. So that with some ingenue zoom lenses.
Cool. And then, okay, that's not related actually to this super chat, but Andy, congratulations on the film.
Thank
Andy
you.
Palmer. The Re-Education of Molly Singer comes out. Is it this weekend or
next weekend, the 29th? Limited
29th.
Theatrical and all the VOD sites, your Voodoos, your Apple, your Amazons, anywhere you can click that buy button. Keep me in the manner I've grown accustomed. Look at this dog over here. Hold on, I got to go the other way. Like, look, I gotta keep him in bones.
Okay, good. Get Andy's dog a bone.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
Perfect.
And get Alan and I some boobs, I guess. Alan's obsessed with boobs.
What can I get for you, sir?
A boob. At least one.
Great choice.
Next movie, I promise.
That keeps coming up. I don't know what it is. But Andy, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Appreciate it. Congrats on the movie. Make comedy great again. That's what
I always like to say.
I'm gonna put it on a red hat and see if I get in trouble in Los Angeles.
You will.
Yeah, exactly. See how that turns out. So great. Thank you so much. Seriously,
awesome,
congrats again. Awesome. Take care, Andy.
Thanks, y'all. Be good.
Thanks, Andy.
Later. All right, Alan. It's just down to us.
Yes.
We got some stuff to talk about here.
Yeah, we can get into it. Is that the deal?
We're gonna get into it.
I think I saw Paulie in the chat. So
is Paulie in the chat? Let's we got to get to a little thing here, but I have some things to say about this. All right. A freaking IKEA chair. Alan, you're doing stuff for Film Threat. What do you do? You reviewed a movie on a channel that is not Film Threat. And we had a message exchange last night. I don't mind that you went on Paulie's channel, Latino Slant, which is a very small YouTube channel. It's a very small channel. It's a very good channel, but it's a smaller channel. And you went on that channel to review a movie that we haven't reviewed yet. My whole thing is like, look, should you go do other shows? Go do other shows. But if you're going to review a movie, review it here first, then go on Paulie's channel. What you have to explain yourself here.
Yeah, as someone on the internet once said, they're sneaky. Uh, and I'll quote Paulie by saying this: Chris Gore hates Mexicans, and so that was
Is
kind
that
of
what I said? I don't remember if that was the exact
I think
quote.
that's what he said.
Was that
But
it?
yeah, no, I reviewed A Million Miles Away, and I think part of it was we were supposed to do it on Friday, and we never got to it, and so I had already lined up the thing with Paulie on Monday when we.
Well,
did it.
here's how you can.
But I was mostly there to
What?
talk about Jawan, which you haven't seen yet.
All right, fine. I'll let it slide this time. Let it slide. But I want to hear your Million Miles Away. I don't want to have to go to some other YouTube channel like Latino Slant.
Oh yeah.
Feel free to subscribe to the channel because I actually genuinely like Paulie.
By the way, if
genuinely do.
Paulie and I
Yeah,
were ever to do a show together, it would be called Latino Slant.
what's another name you could call it?
But the other thing is, I've seen you coming out of a theater drunk talking about movies on his channel as well.
Okay, this is a thing. Paulie will I'm coming out of the theater. I'm like, whatever. The movie was not great. And literally, Paulie will do a headline on his channel, Chris Gore out of the theater Ant-Man 3 review or whatever.
Yes, I've seen those videos.
Dude, what are you doing? Just let me do my own channel stuff. We'll do collabs later. It's like this instant collab. Paulie wants to, jump in and throw me onto his channel, and I'll do it. I'm pretty sure I've been on his channel. I wanna, help lift him up. And look, Paulie does genuinely really good stuff. His interviews are amazing. I mean, I'm teasing and I'm busting his balls, but I really like when Paulie does an interview. He's done some filmmaker interviews that are just some deep dives. Ours are kind of capsule interviews. We'll do like 15, 20 minutes, but he does like an hour more, at least deep dive interviews with filmmakers that are really good. So subscribe to me.
Not a lot of diversity in his interview subjects. Just saying.
There's not a lot of diversity when it comes to the interview subjects. They're all. There you go. But whatever, who cares? I don't care. I just want to hear about good movies. But all right.
By the way, we're seeing Radical tonight.
Honestly, all I saw was the thumbnail. I didn't even watch the video. But I was upset by the thumbnail. Wasn't Alan supposed to review that for our channel? So Alan, now you can make it up to me and the Film Threat audience. Think of the members. Think of the members of the Film Threat channel.
Yes, they'll get the deep dive review.
But Friday. let's get your review, your real.
Oh, we're gonna do it now.
We're not I want to get your real review now of A Million Miles Away, which is on Amazon Prime right now. Tell us your review of A Million Miles Away.
Yes, well, A Million Miles Away is the biopic that's currently on Amazon Prime. Of astronaut Jose Hernandez, and this is basically his life story. He grew up as part of a migrant farm working family. Every year he'd come to the United States to earn money for the family. Parents, kids, everyone worked on the fields, and then he would go to school, and he would be taught and learn, get a good education, make some money, and ultimately the teacher finds out that he is fairly adept at mathematics and is encouraged to kind of go that route, and goes to college, graduates. Ultimately his dream is fulfilled when he goes and works for NASA. And then it just takes us kind of through the fact that even though he was at NASA and enjoyed being there, what he really wanted to do in life was become an astronaut. And kind of goes on the journey of his 12 attempts to get into the program, his 12 failed attempts, and then he finally makes it. Very inspiring story. I have a small connection in the sense of, my dad, he worked on the Apollo missions. and that was a pretty big deal for an Asian guy, and a big deal for us as his children. So inspiring story. I think it's a good story. It's worth, if you're into space, if you're into the space program, this is a good movie for you. It's also a good movie in the sense of it's about the American dream and the fact that here's a guy who shouldn't have been an astronaut, but because of his persistence and because of his love of his desire to want to do it, he ultimately broke through and fulfilled the American dream at that point. Now, I will say this, though. The downside is that this is a biopic, and it's a very average biopic. There's not a whole lot special about it. It goes, there's a formula when it comes to biopics, and it follows it. Just kind of goes on his life, hits certain spots in his life that feels dramatic. A part of it is also his wife, played by Rosa Salazar. She's the one who has to take care of the family, the kids, while he's off at astronaut camp, and or pursuing his dream, so to speak. So is her, kind of putting her dream aside to support her husband's dream. Like I said, as a biopic, it's fairly average, and I think the movie kind of comes off as average because of that. And also, Jose Hernandez, he's not exactly the most dynamic person, and I think they portrayed him that way. Very low energy character, and I think the film feels low energy as a result. So, kind of a mixed bag, but look, we need to see positive, inspiring films, and this is one of those.
All right. Well, first of all, that is the best review I have heard on the internet of A Million Miles Away. I think that if you're gonna watch a review of this movie, that you should watch it. You should watch it on the Film Threat channel. You're not gonna get. I know why you want to go to one of. What am I doing here? Sorry, I'm in the middle of You just want to get to Paulie's barbecues. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I've heard nothing but great things about a Paulie barbecue, and I've got to get into one of those.
All right, well, let's see. There's a Paulie comment here. I effing love these vatos, says Paulie. And Davina Duckworth says, "'Tis better to err and ask forgiveness than beg for permission, except when it comes to Alan." So, so I don't understand this. Slayer 96 DA Second says, "Actually, my goodie bud will be made next week and release it on April 20. No idea what that means." Paulie has great barbecues, says Lord Thoth.
No, see,
Yes,
Lord
Earl.
Thoth has been to a Paulie barbecue. I mean,
Yes, but not you.
yeah.
And then here's a super chat that came in here. A Frost for 10. Chris, you should check out YouTuber Darth Angelus, who is making an animated Heir to the Empire series. He's up to chapter 27, has unique voice actors, and makes Thrawn act like Thrawn again. Wow, Darth Angelus. Let's look it up.
Make Thrawn again. Now, I know you've been to a Paulie barbecue.
I have been to a Paulie barbecue, but I'm me, so.
Yeah, I know. You keep telling me.
You wouldn't like it. You wouldn't like it. There's no Asian food.
I'm not there for the Asian food.
That's true.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, I found the channel. I'm just going to subscribe to it. This is awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the recommendation. We'll talk about this once I've had a chance to see it. A few
Asian's
more
not
things.
so much into cheese.
See, but look, people are recognizing. Look at this. Cyberchud 2077, Paulie poaching Alan. That's what pissed me off. It pissed me off. I saw the thumbnail, and it's like Paulie puts Alan in the thumbnail in an astronaut a helmet. We should be doing that.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm very picky who I invite over." See, you're never going to make it.
I know.
Mike,
look, I did him a solid. I'm taking him to see Radical tonight with Eugene Derbez.
All right, so Paulie's your +1.
Yeah,
there you go. See, it's this is what can you say? All right,
I know Mike MC Wong has tons of Asian food.
Yeah, well, you're invited to that.
Yeah. But let's be real. Asian food is basically food. I I want some Mexican food.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, we're gonna start wrapping up, but I have one last. We're behind on all this stuff. We didn't really get to review everything that we were going to talk about today. Typical show. We have these huge ambitions, and we do our best. Jim Watori, who's a member, says Latino slant barbecue Mexican Iron Man was supposed to get me an invite, but failed.
I know.
Well, there you go. So
I mean,
all right.
it sounds like a Polly Barbecue has like 3 Michelin stars or something. You know, it's very elite, very you have to limit the number, but it becomes this like experience, this story of food that just comes out one by one. That's what I hear about these parties.
Right. Well, look, one last thing we're going to talk about today, one last thing, and you will be before we wrap up the show. Stick with me here on this. We're going to talk about a thing called, I don't even know how to describe this, but in the early days of Film Threat, shoot, I got to, you know what I got to do? I got to add something. You're going to have to like, give me a second here, chat. So please, I appreciate your patience. We're going to talk about something.
All right.
Shoot. We're going to talk about something. I got to delete.
Chat you up, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. Don't go away. This is worth it. This is worth it. I'm going to tell you about something. This is worth it. Bear with me. We're going to talk about.
Oh.
Where's my thing?
I had one there.
I don't see it now. I had it. Typical. All right. Let's just go.
Yeah, there it is.
What is
there.
First of all, it's not a Skibidi toilet.
Well, that's how it was in the thing.
There is a web series currently playing on YouTube that you may have never heard of that is getting billions of views. What am I talking about? Skibidi Toilet. Skibidi Toilet debuted on YouTube in February of this year, and from May to now has gained 25 million subscribers. That's more than the Star Wars YouTube channel. The combined views, billions of views for their videos. It is a web series about toilets battling camera head monsters from another realm. There is no explanation for why they're fighting. The sound design for this is incredible. Each episode is about 1 minute, and it is a phenomenon. It was created by a Russian animator. I'm going to get his name wrong, but I'm gonna look it up so I can make sure. I'll try to pronounce the name correctly here. But it's a Russian animator from Georgia. Okay. And he created this series. Each episode is about a minute. Not much happens except a man's head out of a toilet magically appears, and then suddenly these toilets start singing, and then in sort of a bizarre, monstrous way, they attack and fight. There are giant toilet-headed monsters and small ones. There are giant camera-headed monsters and small ones. There no explanation and no effort is given to trying to explain what all of this means and what it is. It's just weird. Now, in the early days of Film Threat, people would just send me bizarre videotapes, right? This was before YouTube was even a thing. And one of the things I would do would be to get together with my friends, and we would show each other. I would show them like weird videos. Look at this video from this Chicago underground filmmaker. Check out this guy, Nick Zed from New York City. Check out this thing, the Cinema of Transgression. Have you ever seen like this John Waters movies? Like, I would love to sit there with my buddies and just like, and friends, we'd get together and I would just show weird videos from all over. This brings me back to that time. I'm obsessed with Skibidi Toilet. I don't know what it means, but more people have seen Skibidi Toilet than Ahsoka. It is a phenomenon. If you have not seen the channel, it's insane how hugely popular this is. Alan, how many subscribers are currently on the YouTube channel for Skibidi Toilet?
Let me check here.
And it's not just the channel itself, okay, which is the fuck boom. Sorry, the fuck boom. There are 30 million subscribers, 30.2 million subscribers. There are new episodes about every week, and then what they'll do is they'll compile the episodes into a longer video. So the episodes are maybe a minute, and then there'll be a season. And then those seasons are like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. You can watch the whole thing in like maybe a little over an hour. You can watch all the episodes. It makes no sense. I'm not going to play it for you because I know we'll get a copyright strike, but I am strongly recommending that you right now watch Skibidi Toilet. Explain to me how Skibidi Toilet is more of a phenomenon than Ahsoka. There are people doing reaction videos. There are people doing theory videos. There's people do breakdowns of each episode and what happens. It's one of the weirdest things that I've seen in years. It's wildly original, and its success and the billions of views that the channel has amassed is saying something. Traditional Hollywood storytelling may not be resonating with a lot of people. And I think when you look at something like a property like Star Wars, the fact that a show about a guy in a toilet that sings in a war with camera-headed monsters, the fact that this is more popular than Ahsoka, that's telling you something. Check out Skibidi Toilet. Alan, you have one mission. Watch Skibidi Toilet. Let's get a review on the Film Threat website. We're gonna review Skibidi Toilet season 1 through 6. It's an hour. It's a little over an hour. And then you and I are going to talk about it either on Friday or next Wednesday after you've had a chance to see it.
Yeah, let's do it next Wednesday.
We'll do it next Wednesday because by then you'll have it. And then I really want to get into it.
Okay.
So I'm recommending it because I've never seen anything this bizarre or this original. I mean, next to like One Piece. I really love One Piece, but I love this. It is weird. It's short attention span, and the more just Skibidi Toilet. There's an article in Newsweek on Skibidi Toilet. Let's go to your comments and questions as we wrap up the show. But here we go. Mike MC Wong. It is weird shit. Much better than Ahsoka, which is shitty shit. Weird is greater than shit. Alan Horkin, Alexei Gerasimov lives and works in Georgia. I don't think he is Russian. He could be, but it sounds more like he is a Georgian. No, I think Georgia in the Russian sense.
Yes, I believe that's what.
Yes, Georgia is a state in Russia. Cyberchud 2077. It's about the war between toilet men and the cameramen. Less fake than the Ukraine versus Russia. Well, I don't know anything about that. Harry Anders, dear Chris, Georgia is a country in its own right, not a Russian state. Okay. There you go. I'm here for your political news. I thought it was in Russia.
Wow, that was a fast response to what she said.
Don't mean to be a know-it-all, just so you know, FYI. And Alan, I am impressed that your father was in the Apollo project. Thank you, Andy. Why do we have a state called Georgia and a country called Georgia? I think America had it first. Georgia, I'm going to copyright claim Georgia. Does Amber Heard do a cameo? Says the Introspect M. There are channels that have theories about what's happening in Skibidi Toilet. More MAGA says vodka-fueled comedy. Joseph, how do they trick kids into watching this stuff? I'm not a kid, and you don't have to trick me. Am I going to regret looking this up, says the nerd far away? No, and start from the beginning. Because it's very like, the song that they repeat, and the song kind of goes away. The song they repeat is very much like it's like a mind worm, like skibidi skibidi skibidi. But okay, we're talking about it next week.
So you're saying there's a progression and then a story arc,
right?
All ends, yeah, okay.
But it starts with a guy jumping out of a toilet. Dylan Smithy, are we on the old man talks about some kind of YouTube thing? Yeah, we've run out of things to talk about. I noticed something weird on YouTube. Mark Tierney for €2. They should remake Lord of the Rings in the style of Skibidi Toilet. And look, I have been talking about weird movies my entire life. That's why I made the comparison at the beginning of this discussion to weird videos that I would get in the Film Threat office. I have an affection for and love weird cinema, weird underground films, trauma movies. This is no different than a thing that I would talk about in Film Threat magazine in the 80s and 90s. I am happy that someone has seen fit to make a bizarre series that has international appeal and billions of views on the channel. It's a phenomenon and it's important. I never thought I would say those words. So there you go. Soren Resner says, I watched Skibidi Toilet with my 5-year-old nephew, and it's absurd and funny that it falls into the category of something so bad that it's good. Yeah, what really works about it, especially in the later episodes, when it becomes this massive war in the city where things are like bombing and there's war and it's just crazy, like it just makes no sense. So there you go. Russia, Alan Horkin says, yes, many countries were part of USSR. Many countries gained independence, and Russia and Georgia have been separate countries for many years. My apologies on that. Kara says, Russia versus Ukraine is very real. Ukraine is right next to my country. And Matthew Hammond, we're going to end it here. As a child, was Alan good at math, or did he let down his parents? Alan?
Yeah, my older brother is a accomplished computer programmer. My younger brother is an expert at computer networks, and I'm a film critic.
Well, and you do improv comedy. Don't sell yourself short.
Comedy. Yeah. So there you go. That's I mean, look, my dad was an engineer, and my mom was on the forefront of computers back in the 60s and 70s. And I'm a film critic.
Well, there you go. We're going to leave it there. A little longer show than usual today, but we had 2 interviews and a lot of stuff to discuss. We will review and take a deeper dive into Skibidi Toilet itself next week. The thing that I think is worth pointing out is that this is more popular than Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why didn't Disney just... I just feel like with what they had with the Star Wars sequels, they could have made something that was huge. And it will be looked on as a huge missed opportunity.
Well, see, I predict Disney will acquire Skibidi Toilet.
If they were smart, they would.
Yeah. And then because of the amount of money they had to pay for it, they have to create new content for Skibidi Toilet. And they will not go to the original creators. They will hire from within and produce a great, let's say, backstory to the Skibidi Toilet saga.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about it next week, and I've just been watching this stuff, and I'm fascinated by its popularity, and I'm also fascinated because I personally like it. I like it. I like its weirdness, and I'm hooked. I am a subscriber to the channel. I'm one of the 30 million subscribers, more than the Star Wars channel. The Star Wars YouTube channel. There are people who talk about Star Wars on YouTube that have more subscribers than the Star Wars official YouTube channel. That's saying something. And the success of Skibidi Toilet says something about what we find in entertainment. Alan, anything coming up?
Let's see. Not until Friday. Like I said, I'm seeing Radical tonight, and then probably something else. Oh no, yeah, Radical tonight. How
All
about
right,
you?
you're going to see Radical. You're going to take Pauly.
I'm taking Polly.
Are you going to do an art out of the theater review? Alan Ng reviews this thing.
Yes, and Polly will come with a great thumbnail for when I do.
Don't put my Alan in a thumbnail box. Don't put Alan in a thumbnail box. There you go. All right. And reminder, Attack of the Doc, the Ultimate Collector's Edition Blu-ray is sold out. We will have more copies in stock by the end of October, is what I am told. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. And Friday, we will be back with reviews of new movies in theaters, including Dumb Money, The Expendables, Cassandro, and the new indie horror film, It Lives Inside. We've also got a couple of interviews as well. No, just one interview on Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Alan?
Let's get out of here.
Wait.
Oh, what?
I'm sorry. Wait.
Ah.
Final super chat. Dixon Butts for $6.99. Whole ass wars going on, and Chris here is just giving countries away. What do you mean giving countries away?
We gave Georgia away.
Look, for your political commentary, don't come to Film Threat.
Look, I like Dixon
Please.
Butts.
I like Dixon Butts. Good person. And thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth and Latino Slant. We appreciate you. And Ms. P. Coffee, who laughs at my jokes. Not on camera. Off camera, I see when she laughs. That's the audience laughing. That means I got something right. What do you see? I played a video that I don't know if I'm going to play it on the show. I had to get Ms. P. Coffee's like last week. She's basically saying, don't play the video. Telling me don't play it. I'm not going to play it. Not today. We'll see you Friday, everybody. Alan, do you have anything left to say for yourself here?
Yeah, let's get out of here.